Nando's, take me home to the clan I belong. West tomorrow, Death Watch Mama, take me home, Nando's.
そして最後のタイムブレイカーキーはついに封印されました。なんと黒のディフェンダータイムサイダーが犯罪組織カイザーシンジケットを完全に終わらせました。
Yo, Snoop K on the mic. This one for all my time displaced geisha bitches. Yeah. No, we back in the day, 16th century, same Goku era, straight feudal energy. Samurai on the rise, Ganyo in the mix. Oda, Tokugawa fixing conflicts quick. Ninja creeping in the shadows, silent and swift. Castles fortified, loyalties to give. Bushido cold, honest in the heart. Blades clashing, battlefields the art. Same Goku times, they be wild and crazy sizzle. Samurai life, it's the warlord fizzle. Feudal Japan in the house like a dread sizzle. History in the rhyme, feel the ancient sizzle.
Before we begin, what do you think of my totally accurate samurai attire, right?
Back in the day, we had that flow. No filters, no lines, we let it show. Now it's covering the curves, babe, what's the deal? Why sensibles that ain't even real? Polygon hip, sell, shade, play. Blocking all the fun, babe, why you stray? No more moves, no love on the scene. Took the romance out, you know what I mean. Oh, let me see the curves, see the curves. Censor this, censor that. What's the harm in all of that? Oh, let me see the curves, see the curves. Polygons and pixels, baby, bringing it back. Oh, let me see the curves, see the curves. What's the harm in shapes, baby? Why you gotta change? Oh, let me see the curves, see the curves. Took the fun out the game, now it's all so tame.
A shadow in the mirror, whispers in the night, promises of salvation, but something's not right. They move in silence, wearing trust as their disguise, but beneath the silver lining, I see the blackened skies. They twist the knife, their truth untold. The hand that lifts you is the one that lets you fall. Oh, the kiss of death is waiting on your breath. A whisper in the darkness and it pulls you to the edge. You think you found the answer, but it steals your very soul. The kiss of death, the only thing you'll know.
And it looks like the kiss of death for any cool intro I had going there because I left the overlay up. Anyway, it's over for Denny's, okay? That's what I was trying to get at. It's over for Denny's, all right? It's a kiss of death for Denny's. And here to discuss this dismaying news with me is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hi, Black Shirt Army. Yes, I remember it because Cider just can't.
The shirt, it's as far as I get, all right? I remember to wear a black shirt all the time. It's as far as I get. But, yep, Denny's is going to close 150 locations by the end of 2025.
It's sad.
I don't know. I don't really have a lot of fond memories of Denny's, but maybe it's different on the West Coast than it is on the East Coast. On the East Coast, it's all greasy and it smells like wee-wee.
Well, like I would go to Denny's like after 'cause I'm a dork and that was in band and orchestra and all that. I would go to Denny's like after concerts and like we would go like even in college, I would go to Denny's after class with my friends and when I was going through my frat initiation because yes, I was in a unisex frat. We would go to Denny's after like frat meetings and stuff. It was really fun. Denny's has a lot of fond memories for me, and and I would go with my family all the time to Denny's. So like on the way to
Yep.
Disneyland or to like family reunions and stuff like that. So yeah, Denny's has like a special place in my heart.
Oh, it stopped being 24 hours. IHOP stayed 24 hours. And
Really?
a Waffle
Still
House would
24
kill
hours?
you. Yeah.
Denny's was always 24 hours where I'm at,
Yeah.
and the West Coast. Well, at least in California, it's always been 24 hours.
The only time I was ever making use of that is when I was driving taxi for my family's company and when I would go see like late night movies with like a girlfriend or whatever. And that was the only
Yeah.
time I'd ever end up at Denny's. It was always like under like reprehensible conditions. Like the truck stop was too full or something, like all the truckers were there at 2 a.m. in the morning rather than driving, But yeah, that's the end of Denny's, ladies and gentlemen. So please, say your prayers, have
Have
a
an extra
few.
Grand Slam.
Yeah, while you still can before it's gone forever.
Oh,
Before it's replaced by a Tim Hortons.
something that my mom said though that she noticed, and this is like in the Bay Area, in the East Bay
Mhm.
Area, is that she noticed that a lot of the Grand Slams, the portions were getting smaller and smaller in recent years, at least over by her. I don't know if it's the same where I'm at because I haven't been to Denny's in a minute. But yeah, Denny's used to give like really big portions for their Grand Slams, but not, I guess not as much anymore.
Matthew Jackson, we're just opening up the show here discussing the terrible news that Denny's is going to be shutting down 150 locations nationwide by the end of 2025. So.
Yeah, first they came from well, first it was Coco's and then it was Marie Callender's and now it's Denny's.
Marie Callender's was a place you could eat at?
Yeah.
It was just a brand.
No, Marie
like,
Callender's, they had restaurants and like you could get they had the best pies there. They there was still a Marie Callender's over by where I live until recently. They closed the final restaurants down, but like you could get a pie from Marie Callender's for I think it was for like $10, like a full pie.
Spencer brings up a really good point. The only thing that was good about Fan Four Stick was the Denny's menu. I
Dude,
agree. I
yes.
remember that.
Denny's has like really good promo menus. They really did. And then I remember like people were going nuts for like the bacon sundaes they had there at the time.
Yeah, like every pregnant woman in the tri-state area was migrating to their local Denny's on that one. You bet.
Oh, for which one's better? IHOP, you go there for the pancakes. Like my dad would go to my dad goes to IHOP. You have to get it off the secret menu now, which is stupid. But you get at IHOP, you can either get the pancakes or you get pigs in a blanket. It shouldn't be on the secret menu. It's dumb as hell. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, you get pigs in a blanket there, or you just get a short stack at IHOP. But like at Denny's, you get like I like getting if I'm feeling really hungry and it's like afternoon or something like that, you get a Grand Slam burger, which is so good, or you just get like a regular Grand Slam.
Yeah. I unfortunately I have to go with Denny's because I've eaten at IHOP once, so I don't have an informed opinion. There's 3 of them in the whole state. Like I live in Maine. There's
Yeah.
3 of them in the whole state, and the closest one is an hour and 15 minutes from my front door. So that's I don't get there. The Denny's is closer, but it's in an area that I get to more often. I don't go south very often. That's where all those Massachusetts people are, and you've heard about them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Speaking of,
well, I'm gonna say this though. Like my dad is from both my parents are from the East Coast, but my dad is from like New Jersey, New York, And every time he goes there, he doesn't go to a Denny's or an IHOP in New Jersey or New York. He just goes to like a regular diner and just eats there. Because you guys on the East Coast, especially
We still have those.
yeah, you still have really good diners over there.
Yeah,
And
mom and pop shops.
yeah, you have really good mom and pop shops over there. And in the case of us Jews, we have like they have really good kosher kosher restaurants over there, kosher bakeries and kosher delis over there, and they are so good. We used to have them over here in the Bay Area, and I don't remember, we had a couple here in Sac, but in the Bay Area, I don't know if it had to do with anti-Semitism or what, but yeah, or rising costs or something. But yeah, the butchers that were in like in Contra Costa County and in Oakland and in San Francisco, they closed like over the years. So it's really sad, but yeah.
Well, and the other one here is, of course, the secret contender.
Oh yeah, the Waffle House.
Yeah, the Waffle House stage isn't going to be a thing yet, but as soon as it is, they're going to go full promotion for it.
Oh, yes,
I can't
they
wait
are.
to see. Well, I can't wait to see, like, you're actually going to have, like, staged fights inside of the Waffle House restaurants with the Tekken characters. Like, King is coming in, he's ordering, like, chicken and waffles or whatever, he's waiting in line. And then, like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you've got Heihachi just coming out of nowhere, cleaning him out,
Dude, if the Waffle House gets a level, just imagine if they get a Popeyes in there after that. Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
blood Popeyes.
Or Iron Jack, that would be a funny one. Iron Jack.
Yeah, because that's where the fights are at. They're either at a Popeyes, a Waffle House, or like sometimes they're at a McDonald's too. Like it has to be in the hood though, or a Church's Chicken too sometimes.
Well, see, the Waffle House ones is going to be just fine because that'll be great. And then you can have like, you could put KSI's stupid song in the background as the fight stage music. It'll be great. It'll go perfect. You could pick up the chair. You could throw employees at each other. That's the special bonus. You could throw employees at each other. Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great. That'll go over very well. Speaking of going over very well, McDonald's is once again at its wonderful promotions, reminding us all the innocence of a cheeseburger. And here's a hamster on top of a TV.
Yeah.
Telling us about cheeseburgers. It's quite loud. I'm going to turn that off. But yeah, there you go.
It's so adorable.
This is not Hamtaro, by the way. I was under the impression that this was something to do with Hamtaro, but it's not. Nerdigans and I were talking about what this is, and it's I have a theory that it's Hamtaro, and he grew up to own a McDonald's franchise, and his inexplicable human daughter works there, and she's struggling to impress him because she's not good at being a fast food worker.
Well, like in the character design, she has like a band-aid on her knee. Look at that. She has a little band-aid on her knee. She did something.
Yeah.
She hurt herself. But the other thing though is I think it's in Taiwan. Yeah, Taiwan had a Hunter x Hunter McDonald's collab, and they had like it was a card collab, and they were out of cards like within hours, which doesn't surprise me because Hunter x Hunter is extremely popular. So.
Well, and again, it's like we point out here with Sakuramita saying that Japanese make good advertising. Yeah, well,
we used to have good advertising here.
Well, I was about to say it's this thing called focus. It's kind of easy to do things when you focus on them, wouldn't you know? But over here in the West, we don't do that anymore because focusing on work is bad. That's very bad for you to do that. You should be focusing on, like gender rights or gender lefts or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we
E.
used
coli.
to have.
Focus on E. coli.
Well, yeah, especially with the quarter pounder E. coli.
Yeah. See, yeah, it's funny how that just shows up the day after. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just. Oh yeah. Like what's crazy is McDonald's in Japan has Tom and Jerry toys. Which I think is crazy. I know Tom and Jerry's popular over there, but it's like we don't have Tom and Jerry toys, and Tom and Jerry came from the West. And Precure, I love Precure. Precure is just adorable as hell. The Precure collab is happening over in Japan, and I'm just like this is seeing the commercials for all this, and we've been seeing the commercials coming out of McDonald's Japan over the last year or so, and it's like, dude, we had this stuff when we were growing up. Hell, you 80s kids had those that grew up in the 80s had this kind of advertising growing up too. And it's just so, oh, that's just so cute. Oh my God, it's so cute.
Need a minute? You need a minute? Just
Oh
kinda
God,
take
it's
it in, drink it in.
adorable. It's like, drink in that cuteness.
This is going to
Like,
be Medicare merch within like a year. I promise. Probably soon. It's probably already Medicare merch.
there probably is going to be like a Van Presto plushie of it or a Sega plushie of it, like really quick. That is cute.
Mhm.
It's so cute. Not as cute as you, Cat. You're cuter.
Instantly jealous. Instantly jealous.
That's so cute. Maybe I need to get you a McDonald's hat, Cat, and then you could be cute too. Well, as cute.
Just trying to find more on the Pretty Cure stuff. It seems to be.
Oh, they have the Precure toys too. That's adorable. I think there's a I don't remember if there was a Tom and Jerry commercial or not, but yeah, like don't those toys remind you of like the girl toys we had we saw at McDonald's growing up?
I didn't pay attention to the girl
You didn't pay, of
toys.
course you only pay attention to the boy toys. But yeah,
Honestly.
we had stuff similar to that. Oh,
Yeah,
those
back when you could trust children not to murder each other with these devices. Yeah.
well, girls didn't murder people with
Or
that.
eat them. Or eat them. You know.
Well, that's when parents weren't being so freaking stingy.
I don't know about stingy. They were paying attention to their kids a little bit. Still.
So, and then you had the like, remember the McDonald's combs where like each piece was like a little little hair barrette kind of thing, and then when you put it together, it became like a comb.
Nope.
You never had those?
Never had a reason to.
Oh God.
Sorry. But if McDonald's would release an 8-inch anime character plushies like they did when I was young in the 80s, they'd sell really quickly.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, they had the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sanrio collab not too long ago, and they did come to the U.S.
You get a little tiny box.
It's so cute. We did. I know we had stuff like that growing up. For the girl toys, we did.
Well, naturally, but you can't do that anymore.
No,
can't
you
do that here in the
can't.
West because this shows you what femininity is, and you can't do that.
But the thing is, though, is that, and I think that's really funny that people are getting all pissy about it, is that, feminine boys that were into feminine things like this stuff too. They want to play, boys that want to play with girls' toys. That's what they want. They want to play with girls' toys. They like the feminine stuff. Like, why are you getting rid of the feminine stuff when that is what boys want? Feminine boys want to play with. It's just the weirdest thing, and it's the same thing with boys' toys. Girls that like more masculine things, like tomboys, they want to play with guys' toys. Like, why are you getting rid of that? It's so stupid. These activists are dumb. I swear.
But that's what's going on with that. Pretty Cure McDonald's crossover, and we have the cute little hamster girl, or not. I don't know. It's something about hamsters. But little did you guys know, there are Kamen Rider cosplayers that aren't just dudes.
Yep.
It was a surprise to me when I ran across this cosplayer person. And she created her own Kamen Rider Chronos girl version. So,
I'm not surprised.
but I was really impressed with how well it turned out. You don't see these too often with the Kamen Rider characters because they're usually the fan base is usually dudes, and the girls that are into it have their own archetypes that they usually don to be a part of it. So they wear those characters' armors. They usually don't get shifted over into these, the Gundam girls,
Yeah.
the they usually don't get shifted over into armors like these, and so this was particularly interesting to me because I've never seen someone customize a common rider suit like this before. So that's what's going on over in Japan. They have
Speaking of the new, speaking of Gundam, the new life-size Gundam kit made its debut.
that's right. You showed that to us.
Yeah,
We'll
we
dig
saw
that up.
we saw the blueprints for it when it was initially announced, but now it's fully. I can't believe time is just really flying, isn't it? But yeah, now it's fully up.
There you go. This is the new life-size Gundam at the Osaka Kensai Expo. It does not get up and walk around. This is not that unit. This is a statue.
Yeah.
And we had seen that they were going to update the visuals of Grandpa Gundam yet again. And as you can see, they like having this multicolored, multi-panel chest with the Gundam. I guess it makes them think it looks more real or something. I'm not sure. But I've also added these. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be. They're these odd glass panels that they've installed on these on the front of it. I guess to break up the big old metal diaper look, but I don't know. Doesn't do it for me.
The pose looks cool though.
Of course. It's meant to be a callback to I think it's called the last shot. It's where the Gundam is headless and shooting straight upward, and that's when he defeats the one of the giant goofy machines. I forget. It's the one that has the upper body, not the lower body. It's not Big Zam. It's the other one. And but yeah, so we have a more giant Gundam. See, this is the trick, right? This is the trick. Japan's telling us that these things are just statues, but little do we know, right, that they're actually fully functional machines of war. And when China decides to invade, they're going to have to deal with a whole army of Gundams that have been strategically placed under the guise of statues across the entire island nation.
I would not be surprised if that was their secret plan.
You wait. There'll be a recording and it'll come out some many years in the future where Shinzo Abe's like, okay, I don't like anime. How do we make Gundams real though? I don't like anime. Get me Tomino. How do we make Gundams real?
I would not be surprised by that.
If anyone cares, Michael's Arts and Crafts sells official Gundams models now.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've seen that. I've seen
Nice.
Michael's does. Hobby Lobby should obviously.
Yeah.
Target does. I've seen in some of the toy hunting videos that I watch because I have a problem. I watch weird things. That in terms of anime figures too, is if you go to like discount stores like Ross, TJ Maxx, DD's discount store, and what's the other one? And Marshall's. Like you could get anime figures for under $20. Like I'm talking like Van Prestos and stuff. And I think I think some of them have seen Gundam kits too. And now's the time, and Ollie's too. I think we'll have it sometimes if you're on the East Coast. But yeah, if you go there, especially now, up until like Christmas, because this is when they're getting all their shipments in, because they, with the tables and everything. Now's the time to go because they have like really, really good stuff.
Well, Japan's one of those funny places. Because I love the culture of Japan. I love studying it. I don't really take an interest in modern anime. I'm not that kind of guy.
You're
I don't want
into
to
the
go over
classic
there.
stuff.
Yeah, kind of. It's not so much that I like anime that gets me into the culture. I just appreciate Japan's culture. It's just an interesting sandbox to look into. I don't want to go and join it. I don't want to put a wig on and go ride around Mario Kart style or explore a suicide forest. That's not what I want to do.
You'd want to ride a Gundam though.
Every now and then I think to myself, I think Japan's just better to look at. Their laws are tricky. But
Yeah.
not that I'm a goofball, but I smoke weed like a chimney, and that stuff doesn't burn out of your system as fast as they tell you, okay? And I don't need to spend time in a Japanese prison because my eyes are a little glassy. No. Anyway.
Oh, did you see? I almost forgot. Did you see the Hatsune Miku Gundam collab that's coming? It's like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, dude, Gundam's going across.
Yeah, well, they did that with the Delta there. I think it was the Delta Gundam. It was the one in Unicorn that
Yeah.
the other crazy blonde guy was piloting. Riddy was piloting, and that one was basically a Macross. That was straight up Robotech. But what I was bringing that up is that the culture's very striking to me because you see this, like it's a construction zone. They are
Yeah.
putting together a Gundam statue, and here is a man in ceremonial wear, either blessing the statue or having some type of uh, conversation about the statue up close with its head in ceremonial garb, or at least historical reenactment garb if he's not actually there to do some type of blessing. And it's man, again, this could even still be like the garb that they wear for like a regional governor could wear when they're like commemorating an important moment in their community. I don't
Well,
know,
that's what this
but
would be, right? This would be a commemoration of
I would
the
hope,
moment because
but
Gundam is extremely important to the country.
yeah, this is the third one. No, yes, this is the third one to be erected outside of a Bandai controlled land property.
Yeah. So this would
There's
be that's what probably he's wearing the ceremonial garb for, is to commemorate it.
it could yeah, it must be, but I'm just absolutely beside myself sometimes because you're like watching, you're like looking at this, and as an American, when you see a statue go together or whatever come up or whatnot, they're usually not as elaborate as this. But on the other end, they're just a dude in a suit. There's just a guy in a suit and a tie. He could just walk into a newsroom and be a news anchor in the next few minutes. He's no different than any other guy in a suit. And then you have this. You have a guy that's like in like some type of official garb that's doing that. And I'm so fascinated by it. I like the collision of like hyper future giant robot head and then ancient tradition colliding. I like that.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Again, it's very unique to Japan. You don't see China doing this stuff. They don't really do the whole ancient Chinese tradition thing very much. They mostly burned that stuff. And the
Yeah.
Koreans, well, they're too busy trying to have kids. So, I don't think they're paying too much attention to anything right now other than how to get laid. So, you know that, right? They fell below Japan. Japan has the highest fertility rate in the Pacific zone
Yeah.
right now. That's
Yeah.
astonishing.
I know.
Howdy. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's what's going on with Gundam. They're putting up a new statue over there. Of course, we have the Gundam Netflix movie that came out. That was Requiem for Vengeance, and that was a lot of people. I think that was the one that was supposed to be live action, and they
Really?
just decided, yeah, because I
thought
thought
there
that's the
was
same
supposed to be
director.
no, there's supposed to be a live action one too. There's a separate live action one, and then there's
Okay,
Requiem for Vengeance. Um,
we never got any updates about that
we
live
haven't
action one.
gotten
There was
no,
just
we
an
haven't
announcement.
gotten yeah, we haven't gotten any updates on that one. Kojima said he liked Requiem for Vengeance, but I've seen mixed reviews on it. Some people have said they liked it, but others have said that it's, in terms of the art and animation, that it's very off-putting because of it looking more like a video game than an anime.
Well, that's truthfully what happened with Requiem with Vengeance. It looks terrible. The one thing I found funny is they went through and they SJW'd all these characters, right? So let me
I mean, if
Requiem
this was
for.
like here's the thing: if it wasn't in an Unreal 5 engine, and if it was just like straight up anime, I don't think you would have had like it. It wouldn't have looked so SJW. It would have.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think
Well,
Unreal
the
5 is going to
piercing.
save you from nose rings and face tattoos.
Well, I'm saying getting rid of Unreal 5 and like putting it in like the traditional anime. But like if it got rid, like, because I'm trying to think of it, comparing it to like how Gundam, if it was the traditional Gundam animation style, that's what I'm getting at. If it was
Sure.
that instead of like this, instead of Unreal 5, then I think it would have been it would have been better, and you wouldn't have had like this, the SJW look.
And that's just it. Is that's clearly Netflix's footprint on this.
Yeah.
And that It is a the other thing is that in the movie, because I don't have Netflix, I ditched it as soon as Cuties showed up. I never went back. I deleted it and I left. But the this movie right here, as it's been described, is the Gundam is going around like a serial killer in like a horror movie. It's like peeking around corners. Like the camera will show you the Zaku that thinks it's safe, and the camera will shift position. And like as position is shifting, the Gundam is revealed like Jason style, standing behind something. You're waiting for the to start playing when the Gundam shows up in the background. It really is like it's like stalking them through the movie, and so I don't really approve of it. And I know that's not going to go over well with a lot of people that are looking for like kind of a new take on Gundam. But this was a miss. The Gundam should always be the hero. I don't like it when the Japanese productions turn like the what was that? That was Bright Noah's son, Hathaway. In Hathaway's Flash, the Gundam Penelope was the bad Gundam. It was like a giant evil swan, and it's I don't like how I don't like presenting the Gundam in an evil light. There was that one Stardust 079 Stardust. Oh well, it's Stardust something. It was very well done. But they have an evil Gundam in that one. But that Gundam's stolen. It was originally a good Gundam, and it was stolen and made the villain Gundam. I don't like it when the Gundam is like straight up from the Federation, like Amuro is supposed to be. Now, he's not the pilot in this case, but you're supposed to get the hero Gundam sort of experience, and I don't like that it's like a serial killer stalking them around. And Lorraine, so what happens in the Gundam universe is that inexplicably, 18-foot tall robots can just sneak. They can sneak. I don't know how. The sound tells us that they make an earth-shattering thud, smash, and crash whenever they step down, but somehow you need advanced listening devices in order to know the movements of mobile suits, as we saw in 8th MS Team, 08th MS Team. And I don't know, but that in the Gundam universe, apparently they can sneak up on each other. There's no technology to hear giant fucking robots. I don't know. But yeah, so that's how it happened was they sneaky robots, yep. And that's what's going on over there with that movie. So if you want to see the Gundam in sort of a hyper aggressive kind of manner, because it does a lot of crazy movements in this one. Like you remember in the anime, Amuro was doing all that crazy kickflip stuff. It looks pretty sick in like 3D. I'm not gonna lie. You were an Optimus was kicking ass in Transformers 1. It's like that, but with the Gundam and more fire. And I can't show the clip because Netflix is prejudiced, and we just got hit with a bunch of stuff in the back. Not just like right now, but like the past few days, the old trailers we used to play just got hit. I don't want to go through and delete a whole bunch of stuff again. So, but yeah, take a look at it if you're interested in the Gundam being portrayed as like a psycho killer. That's all I have for you, is that there's these SJW women that are being hunted to death by a psycho killer Gundam that
I don't think
arguably is
that's how
kind
they
of scary.
wanted. Well, like that's the thing that's kind of funny though. I don't think SJWs really wanted to, unless they wanted to play victim.
No, they want to be the villain. You got to understand,
But
there's
they're
this
not
new
being the
arc.
villain, though. They're being the victim in this.
Well, that's just it. Is that Zeon's the villain, always the villain. Even when they portray, even when it was Gundam the Origin, and you were trying to understand Char's reasoning, Char's going around killing innocent people all the time in that show. He is absolutely manipulating everybody, including his sister. He's sacrificing the women he loves, that sort of stuff. So it's not. Zeon is always the bad guy. I like Zeon. Don't get me wrong. I like Zeon, but they're always the bad guys. So yeah. But having a psycho killer Gundam is kind of new. I gotta tell you, I didn't expect that to happen. And then they gave the Gundams like weird rabbit ears.
But still, I just think it's so funny because you would think that that these SJWs, well, actually no, it does feel right Because SJWs, at least from my experience, they like being seen as the victim. And this does, it's just ironic that they want to be seen as the villain as well as the victim. It's just so funny. You would think that they want to be portrayed as a hero. And
Well, Leslie, you know, they thought about that because the Gundam is stark white. So, yeah. And apparently they really liked War Machine's design, so they decided to give it a shoulder-mounted FU turret. So that's neat. But yeah, they made it stark white and gave it like the Jason hockey mask. You notice that? You see that? It's the hockey mask. You see the little holes that are usually down here?
Yeah.
It's the hockey mask on Jason.
Oh my god, it totally is.
Yep. No, and that's just it. Is that people who don't like the Gundam, maybe don't hate the franchise, but people who don't like the Gundam made this, and that's hard. I don't like that, but I get why they did it. It's a new take. It's a new, yep, McMahon. It's a new version of it. A new version of the White Devil. Yeah, yep. And originally, Tomino's design was all white, but then the toy company, Bandai, came through and they were like, hey, man, you just slap some Superman colors on that thing or else kids aren't going to buy it. And that's what happened. Yeah, it's hockey season in the middle of the 079 war, 0079 war, you bet. Amuro's the goalie. But speaking of anime that like changed the world, we're pretty much headed into that again. The leaks that came, well, I wouldn't say leaks, the reveals about Lazarus have been pretty stark and interesting. Just a quick overview on it. Lazarus is from the same guy that did Cowboy Bebop.
Yep, it's Watanabe's newest project, and we got a first look at it last year during, I think it was New York City Comic Con as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we got a new trailer. We barely got any info on it when we first got the reveal, but now we got even more info this time around. And it's from what you're going to see in the trailer, it's a mixture of 2D
set to a funk guitar, and that's where we got it. As usual, music-driven stuff. But thankfully, we had Sakaki, and this is at KIIROBON over on X if you want to follow this person's.
He's really good. What he does, he documents Shogakukan content mainly for manga content, and he goes to different anime conventions, and he is very reliable on documenting all the panels that they go to.
Right. And so this is how we get this information. There's a big write-up about all this. Don't think we need to go through every last one of it, but we can just scroll through here. This is the group of people that are in charge of producing this. And so you have the, I believe that's our director right here.
And Jason DeMarco should be up there too, because he's one of the producers.
Probably that guy. Just guessing. He's the only fellow there that looks like a Jason, but I could be wrong. That could be Jason over there, and that could be Ted. But so what is going on here with this? Did you read through this before we started, or?
I somewhat read it before we started.
So this is what I took away from it here. Then,
yeah.
Is even some of the staff said this is similar to Cowboy Bebop when they watched the complete first episode. Watanabe asked the audience what they thought, and they're all kind of like, no, it doesn't really feel like Cowboy Bebop. And he said he fundamentally made this to be different. So don't expect Cowboy Bebop out of this, but sort of, I would expect these kind of energy out of it. Axel is a character that's very much like Spike. He appears to be on the run. He appears to be some guy that takes risk for money. And so you're probably going to see him in some type of delivery situation. That appears to be a current obsession with Japanese media right now, is delivery men. And
it's sad that Nobumoto didn't live long enough to write this with Watanabe, unfortunately.
And to that, I have to say that it's probably good. Not that I want this guy to die, but that it didn't have that strong of a Bebop footprint because it probably would have turned into a Bebop clone. There's something about putting all the elements in the same spot and you're
But
going to
yeah,
get the
it
same
does.
results.
But did say there they did get some ideas from working together, so maybe those might feel similar to Bebop.
Right. And again, so you're going to see a lot of that sort of play over again because Watanabe's style, because he did Space Dandy,
Yes.
right?
And you saw a little bit of Bebop in Space Dandy too.
Well, it's the music-driven cinematography. It's the
Yeah.
music-driven plot. He very much likes listening to music as he writes, as he creates. This is how, oh my goodness, it just fell out of my head. James Gunn. That's how
Yeah.
James Gunn writes. He puts on a bunch of music and he creates a script set to it. And so it's for this guy though, for Watanabe, it comes down to like the character movements follow the beat of the music. That was one of the more stunning things about Bebop is if you don't know, the music for Bebop pre-exists the script.
Mhm.
That's right. So everything that's written, everything that you see on screen happened after they went out and recorded all the music. That's astonishing to me that they didn't have a band watching all those crazy moves with the swordfish there, Spike's spaceship. And I can only expect the same thing to be done here because that was done in Space Dandy. It's one of his trademarks there is to use the music to create this kinetic feeling of like the music is communicating movement to what you're seeing.
It's kind of like it's something that I noticed if you've been watching Dragon Ball Daima and Bleach As in Your Blood War, you notice how the music is kind of influencing the movement and the action that's happening in the scenes for that. I've noticed it especially in those two anime this season, and it's just so fantastic to see how much music is influencing the interactions in anime. Again, it's really, really nice. It's so different this season compared to for Bleach, especially compared to what we've seen in like the previous course. It's so refreshing.
This is called Lazarus, just like the Lazarus Pit, the myth of Lazarus. It is spelled the same, and I presume it has to deal with some type of code breaking thing. That's usually what they apply the name to is coding some type of AI that's complex. We have Sakura Mita here asking, have you guys seen FLCL? Of
Oh,
course.
fully coolly, yeah.
That was a long time ago. Where I come from, you weren't allowed to watch Adult Swim unless you were old enough, and I wasn't old enough. And one of the shows that I stayed up late watching, in addition to Cowboy Bebop, was FLCL.
Same here.
And I had to turn the television down really loud and get really just turn it way, way down quiet and get really, really close to the TV so my parents didn't know that I was
My parents
watching.
didn't care.
So Fooly Cooley has a very special place because unlike Cowboy Bebop, this one was like in my age demographic when I was coming up with it. And, aging up. I didn't invent this when I was coming up with it, like I was aging up.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting story being a young man who had a fascination with an older gal at the time. I mean, older as in like she was 17, I was 14 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't some mutual thing. We didn't date. So it was just kind of interesting that Nauta, I think this is what his name was. Nauta, I think is the main character's name. He kind of found himself in a similar position where this lady was in his life and he had a fascination with her, but he didn't know what to do with it. And of course, who doesn't want a best friend who's a robot that has a TV for a head? Like, come on.
Right?
So it's what it is. Yeah, I miss old Cartoon Network. Well, everything's dead now.
Oh,
so,
did you see the new bumper for HBO? I'm still calling it HBO Max. You gotta deal with it for HBO Max that came out. Oh god, it's so good. It is very much like a classic Cartoon Network bumper. I'll have to pull. It's for Latin America though, unfortunately. But yeah,
of course we don't get nice things here.
But yeah, there's a new bumper that came out for HBO Max in Latin America, and it's specifically for Cartoon Network. And it has Bugs Bunny like trying to get all the cartoons together and rallying them up the troops up to fight against the other streaming services, and it's so classic. If you grew up in the 2000s, and remember like the classic Cartoon Network bumpers, it's very very reminiscent to that.
Yeah, we had the other characters communicating with one another.
Yeah, and like right before that, you see like I think it was like Dee Dee in the foreground, like running, and it takes place in a locker room too. Let me see if I can find it.
Sure.
Um,
I had no idea that Max bought Cartoon Network. I thought it was just gone. So,
no, it's still there.
yay.
Um,
He was
I
doing
know
such
it's
a great
still-
job, doing such a great job. What is FLCL? Fooly Cooly is a coming of age anime in which a young man develops a growth on his forehead that becomes a robot pirate with amnesia. And he meets a girl that, upon striking him on the forehead in that same spot with a guitar, they can summon weapons to destroy creatures that are either born from his forehead or are mutated by a giant iron-shaped, steam-releasing structure that forever exists on the horizon of his hometown.
I posted it in the chat, and there's another. I don't know if we want to save it for maybe 01 or not, but something else that came out during New York City Comic Con was a Aztecian version of Batman that's coming out. That's being made into a movie, and
Naturally.
some of the designs are interesting, but Mexican Joker is really really creepy. It freaks me out.
Yep.
But yeah, doesn't
That
this feel like
looks like an old
classic?
one.
Yeah, doesn't this feel like classic, like a classic Cartoon Network bumper?
Yeah, you'd see like Ed and Eddie like in the background or whatever, and yeah, like this, this exactly, absolutely. Except it's all the lame things.
And then there's Billy and Mandy, and there's Steven Universe and Dexter, and see
Yeah.
like, they're trying to like. hide
You know
them
what?
up.
I'm really glad that they are not ballsy enough to reboot Dexter. I am really, really
Well-
glad that they haven't figured out how to reboot that yet.
Well, the original voice actor died, and I know they replaced her.
Like
I
that
think,
stops them. They went and that Grand Moth Tarkin, even Carrie Fisher, they zombified her face onto a body. So
That
you
is
know that
very
doesn't matter
true.
them. They don't care about that stuff. Yeah, Bugs Bunny's got my face on this whole thing. Yeah.
He's the one in control. He's running it.
But yeah, no, that's yeah, Fooly Cooly was a really weird anime. It was part of that early 2000s introspection anime that was going on at the time. There was a lot of questioning of the self going on in that time. Paranoia Agent came out at that time. Orange, something to do. No, it wasn't Clockwork Orange. There's another one that was really psychedelic that came out in the beginning of really trippy. You got Fooly Cooly, you had Paranoia Agent, and then there was another one that was like reality warping.
Reality warping anime. Are you reality warping anime besides
Yeah.
Fooly Cooly?
Yeah, and it was really dark. It was a really dark one that was like really introspective.
Well, one that was like really dark and retrospective, but still had a light side of comedy was Trigun.
Yeah, that's not early 2000s though.
Well, that's like 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what was going on at the time. A lot of the animators were trying to dig deeper, rather the directors were trying to dig deeper into the human experience. And depending on how you receive that, the Get Backers. That's right, the Get Backers. That whole big tower in the middle was a complete fabrication. So, the Get Backers was another one. That's right. But a lot of this, what was going on at the time was people in the lower end of Japanese society were not able to progress. And so
Yeah.
that became like a large sort of glut of people. It wasn't necessarily when it happened in 2008 when the economy crashed, when the forgotten generation, our age group, what Nerdigans and I share an age group with, In Japan, they're called the Forgotten Generation. But this is preceding them, and in Japan, there's always been like this underclass that's kind of like a gig economy. In city television shows, you see these people that have like 3 or 4 jobs. In Japan, that's just sort of been a thing since the Japanese miracle started in the 80s. This isn't like you'll eventually get a good job. That's just what you do until you die. And FLCL is sort of born out of that like low class, go nowhere, dead end future sort of mentality, I guess, that was
Yeah.
going on at the time.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. And so super soldiers and genetic engineering. Yep, that was a good one for Trigon. There was also another one that was going on in the mid 80s to mid 90s. That was a really popular one. Trope. You got to understand, in Japan they move kind of monolithically. When there's a trend, everybody does the trend, and when the trend's over, it is over. Everybody's done with it.
I mean, that's what happened when and I've said this before, but it's what happened when Toy Story debuted and Pixar started the CGI revolution. That's what happened. That's why you see so much CGI in Japan now, is because of Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
It kicked off like a CGI trend, and it's because of that. There's a major animator shortage, and there's a lot of outsourcing because of that. But something that's been happening at like Aniplex and Studio Trigger, and I think Toei too, but I'm not sure, is that they are they're training animators in house. So that way they have their own animators, and they are not going to outsource anymore, which is nice.
Well, and then speaking of that, we do have a bit of related news. I'm sure people out there that are following the current zeitgeist of what's going on in trending anime in Japan know that Blue
About
Lock
Blue
is a
Lock.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I covered this the article went up today, or last night. But yeah, something that I came across yesterday, and I was shocked when I saw this on the Blue Lock Reddit, is that one of the animators, and he's from Chile, he revealed like what was going on with the PowerPoint-esque animation, and the culprit behind it, of course, it's the bane of a lot of anime's existence, is the production committee. And the production committee cut costs. And it's really weird that of all anime, that it was for Blue Lock. And when Blue Lock is extremely popular, the manga is one of the best-selling manga in Japan. And Blue Lock's anime was very successful. The first season was very, very successful. So to see that this was happening here was really, really bizarre. And he did mention that this was happening with Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 as well. So, and I think that this has happened. Yeah, production committees have been making very questionable decisions for a very, very long time. We've seen it with like Attack on Titan's decision to not sell the Eldian armband because they were worried about like it being offensive, which is stupid in my opinion, because they were worried about being anti-Semitic. And I even talked to my mom about it at the time, and she thought that was dumb. People would have not been offended by that. Well, at least actually, I think this is coming from me as a Jew. I think it would have been really good to have it because it's a reminder of what what our people went through. And hell, there's Israelis that get their relatives concentration camp numbers tattooed on their bodies as a reminder. So that's why it's like I don't understand why they were so worried about being offending people. That was so stupid. Or they could have just donated part of the money to a Holocaust museum or something. So stupid. But anyway, but yeah.
Sakura Mita says, I hate how people treat CGI like cheat codes. It's not. If Power Rangers use CGI, they're going to have the same problems like MCU. Yeah, and this is what happened with Blue Lock.
Well, somewhat what happened, because what they said here was they actually literally removed movement frames. So this isn't CGI. They literally removed movement animation frames, and that's why it looks like a slideshow.
Yep, I got it right here. We're not going to be playing the audio, obviously,
but see, look how it.
Yep.
There's some CGI, but yeah, they moved when you remove movement frames, it looks like a PowerPoint.
That is no. Look, watch that ball. There's no. Watch his leg. Watch his leg. Look at that!
Mm-hmm.
You could hear like the rusty door hinge.
Yeah.
Doink. Then it like whips through the air like Wanted style where you bend the bullet. Yeah. All right.
It's wild. Here, let me pull up something though. Look up I'm gonna pull this clip up. But like if you look at Captain Tsubasa 2018 from David Productions, what they did though, that is like butter.
Look at this. This looks so bad. Watch when they're running. Oh no, it's like a PS2 intro. It's like a menu in a PS3 game. Oh my god. Wow. This is I follow I follow an animation dorm on X, okay? And what happens is that this is a group of people who have to live together in order to be able to go to work at an animation studio. They are not paid enough. They make 10,000 US dollars a year. That's their salary to make animation, hopefully better than this, but ideally better than this. And this is what happens when you keep not paying these people. The Japanese economy can't afford it right now because the yen is next to useless. It's rising, but it's pretty low. And it's a compounding problem, but this is the fruit of it right here. You have not enough people, and of the people left over, you're not paying them enough. So they either walk and go find a job that can support them and their families, or, they put in the work you're paying them for. And unfortunately, it leads to stuff like this, where it just doesn't quite come through as professional. Looks more like a really overdone Newgrounds animation. Oh look, all of his autism's flying by him. That's neat. Zergans, no, she's muted.
Yes, I do. I'm just trying to find the one find a clip of Captain Tsubasa 2018 because I want to show you how really good animation is done. Soccer animation's done from David, because David Productions did a fantastic job of this. Actually, you know what? I actually put a GIF of them.
Well, you see, Masato, what really moreover is the abuse of it. Not all CGI is as bad. Of course not. It's not at the peak of its terribleness. We see a lot of stuff coming out right now that's quite nice on the eyes in the CGI department. I would argue that a lot of the AAA games right now are doing pretty well with CGI. I mean, like, not for game quality, but if you're going to put out a movie, it's doing pretty well. I said this back in when Advent Children came out, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, that we weren't going to need human actors for much longer. That all was going to get wrapped up and taken care of, no problem whatsoever, because they'd be able to replace the voice. And after they replace the voice, you don't need anything else, And I'd argue that when that happened, the CGI that you see in like this Blue Lock thing is really, really behind what we saw in Advent Children. Granted, I know that's a different art style. You're dealing with like pure CGI with the Advent Children stuff, and you're dealing with a mixed cell-shaded thing, like a Budokai cell-shaded situation with the Blue Lock animation. But I just have to stress that Advent Children was like back in the aughts. All right, we've had some time to improve on that, and it doesn't seem like we have, And that's the startling part to me. And I know that the CGI is going to reach a plateau, but I don't think it should go back. I don't think an improvement is to look worse. I think the improvement is to look better. And I would say that this does look better than like Dragon Ball Z Budokai, right? But not much. I mean, like I said, that whole running scene when those kids are coming at the goal there, I'll bring that back up. We'll take a look at that. When you see everybody running there. Yeah, we'll go back to how screwy that looked. But yeah, they it looks like the opening menu to a PS3 game, you know? They don't oh, I guess it didn't go back far enough. But, yeah, there it is. It looks like the opening to a PS3 game. Like this looks like, you know, you're gonna play an anime soccer game with your friends. And I would argue that this probably again has more to do with a labor shortage than like actually like what the corporation thinks of Blue Lock, because it's a very well rated manga right now, a very well rated property. This again has probably more to do with
So
not
I
paying
found
enough
one.
people.
I
Oh,
found
you
a
did?
really yeah, I found a good one from Captain Tsubasa 2018. This is from David Productions. This is how a soccer anime should look. It's a little bit, it's like a little over almost 2 minutes, but the animation is stunning. It is better than what you see with Aowashi, because I know people bring up Aowashi. Not. This is better than what you see with Aowashi. Inazuma 11 is another one that people say is good, which I will agree to an extent. That one's older than this, but
Wrong button.
but like when you see Captain Tsubasa, like you will see how beautiful this movement is. But look at that. Look how beautiful that pass is. And the cut frames are. And it's just so beautiful. Just wait till we get to the shots themselves, because this is what Blue Lock should look like. Because the manipulation, like how the manifestations of their egos, because someone's like, oh, the kick shouldn't, there shouldn't be animals from their kicks. Well, folks, some of the manifestations of their egos are animals. So, but look at that kick. Oh, so gorgeous. That's Hyoga's tiger shot, I believe, or his overhead kick. Yeah, it's his tiger shot. Look at that.
Wow.
And then Tsubasa stopped it, and then it's his overhead kick to counter it. Oh, it's so pretty.
So there you go.
That is what soccer anime should look like. I'm sad that David Productions is not working on Captain Tsubasa anymore. A different studio took over, and man, you could tell the difference. It was so heartbreaking to try and watch World Youth.
That's true. It could have had that done. I think this is season 2 though, so I'm not sure. It could have had something to do with the Olympics
For Blue
too.
Lock
So.
for Blue Lock season 2, or yeah, Blue Lock season 2. He said it started months ago.
Oh, we have Meteor Advocate Timon here for membership. Sorry, I thought that said something. He says the only sport anime.
Oh, are you talking about Captain Tsubasa or Blue Lock? Because Captain Tsubasa.
I would say Tsubasa. I can't say Blue Lock.
Well, Captain Tsubasa, I need to finish catching up with the manga. I'm so behind on it. I know the mangaka retired and is doing just sketches for the remaining content for it. Being so stubborn. You should just have someone else draw it, but he's being stubborn.
Well, we were just looking at Chibi Reviews here, and you did a news story about this.
Yeah.
About this fella.
Yeah, Chibi Reviews, for those of you that don't know, Chibi Reviews got doxxed, and not just him, his family got doxxed, as well as the gravesite of his deceased brother was doxxed. And not just that, he was hacked. All of his or the majority of his accounts were hacked, and these people from Soyjack.party uploaded actual child porn onto his DeviantArt account and over a Dan clip. It is just ridiculous. And it was to the point where there was enough evidence that the FBI could get involved.
Dang. It's pretty intense. We got Spencer here though.
Hey, Spencer.
Nerdigans, break this down because this story is genuinely insane, and I feel like nobody's talking about it.
Well, not anymore anyway, since Chibi shut them down.
But nobody was even talking about it before. And look at me, I mirrored my camera. Look at that. So
so basically, when this happened, this is after the first episode of Dan to Dan premiered. TV Reviews like posted a clip of when Momo was basically getting sexually assaulted or by the Serpios. And
so hold on, for those who don't know what Dan Dan is, do you want to like explain what it is real quick, just to give them a background?
So Dan to Dan is like a supernatural manga. This is the anime adaptation by Science Saru, and basically it's like an aliens versus monsters kind of thing. That would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, no, that is the best way to describe it. The only caveat I'd give is like it is monsters versus aliens, but one of the things I really like, Nerdigans, I think
besides the art.
Well, aside from the art and the general plot, but I like that the dynamic between Momo and I always forget his like main name.
That's why I got kind of mad at Chibi
yeah,
and then
I know for saying that it was Boruto, because like this is not so easy to pin. It is this really bad pervasive mentality in the West, which is what results in everything getting censored, everything getting rewritten for modern audiences. Like that weird your slugworm Animorph style, that's buried its way into people's brains.
I like that, actually.
Whether they're left, right, center, no matter what. You see, you know, I've seen people who I normally would be like, oh, thinks we have to be the most pure thing no matter what, and I'm right on fighting for my side no matter what. Like that's what we need to like quash out. And you'll get into it because that mentality,
I have to mention this.
No matter what I do is right. Like that's kind of the crux of this.
But the thing that's really funny though is this is something that happened in Fire Force, and I can't wait for this arc to get adapted by David Productions. Is in Fire Force there is an arc, and I call it the War on Sex Appeal, where you have where one of the oh my god, doppelgangers. One of the doppelgangers of one of the characters called one of the White Hoods, Assault. And Assault is like he is like sex depraved to an very, very sex depraved. And Assault is like full on puritanical, and he wants to get rid of everything that is sexy and sex appeal and all that. And Tamaki is, well, obviously Tamaki is the embodiment of sex appeal, and she is what changes Assault's mind. And like when you get to the fight with her, you see all these Karen. I call them Karens because they just straight are. These Karens attack her because of of her lewdness, and she's just telling them like, "Dude, shut the hell up! I'm trying to save you guys from this asshole that's trying to kill you." And they're just giving her so much hell because her clothes are coming off. And finally, the actual Assault shows up, and he tells them to shut up, and he goes and fights, his doppelganger. That's what this is giving. It's giving like the war on sex appeal. That's my point. And the arc came out like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that. And it's just so funny that Okubo is just proving these people, they're proving Okubo right. It's so funny. He wrote that as a commentary, and like not just a commentary, he wrote it as an answer to all the criticism he was getting from the psycho Japanese feminists at the time. And
they are psycho.
They're very, very psycho. And this mindset, it's in the West is just as bad. I would say maybe I wouldn't say worse than Japanese feminists.
I don't think there needs to be a competition. I think you can say that this mindset, period, is bad. It doesn't matter where it comes from. The puritanicalism, the attacking creative freedom, like that mentality is bad. Full stop.
Yeah, full stop.
When you get to that mentality, that's what sort of well, I don't want to step on your toes. You want to keep going on the Chibi's thing and get to the really insane part about
to
it?
the really insane part
yeah.
So like the normal people everyone, where they're getting where he's getting death threats. I've been getting death threats exactly like this for just a meme of Lily from Pokemon.
I mean, we all do, yeah.
Yeah, no, but this has just been happening over the past like 48 hours or so.
But Nerdigans also, you do instigate. Let's also be real. You do poke the bear a lot.
Chibi does too. That's why I'm comparing this, because Chibi was poking the bear a little bit more by posting the panel.
Okay, go ahead.
But that's why I'm equivalating it a little bit.
I get where you're going for. I disagree a little, but keep going.
But anyways, but yeah, but they were but I'm gonna say this though. He's getting it a lot worse than I am, because unlike Chibi, I am shadow banned on Twitter. He is not. There's that. But yeah, there's thousands of people seething over, as it's saying here, over him, living and get engagement farming. I mean, hey, let him make his money over the engagement farming. But yeah, these people are psycho. They're violating TOS. If you ever see these kinds of people, just report them. But I do want to say that.
I think. Okay, are you going to get into the actual rest of the story, or are we just going to call them out?
No, I want to get into the rest of the story, but I'm just saying in general, if you ever see these kinds of people, report them. Period. Full stop. But now let's get into the rest of the story here. But then later on, after this kept going on, Chibi then said that he got doxxed, his information got out, and it was by a Twitter user that did the initial doxing. But then it got weirder on Soyjack, and I found this out after he posted that his DeviantArt account got hacked, and they posted the child porn on there, and it was on Soyjack.
Hold on here. Let me lay it out a little. Let me lay it more out as a little bit of a narrative. Let me help you out here, so you get the real commentary of it. So Chibi Reviews. Yes, he is a anime YouTuber. The other week he posted a clip from Dan. In the very first episode, the female lead, she gets abducted by aliens, and in their abduction of her, they say they're gonna probe her, they're gonna take out her uterus, they're gonna do all that stuff because they're evil aliens. So there is this scene in the very first episode where it's very suggestive. She's being held down by equipment. They're going to go and strip off her clothes, but then at the last second she awakens her superpowers and she fights them off. That's the whole point of that bit. So Chibi shares a very short clip of that scene, and so there are two things he does actually. He shares a very short clip of
animation too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so first he shares that clip from that scene and says, "Wow, this animation is bonkers. They did not have to go so hard on this anime." And it's true. The anime looks absolutely gorgeous no matter how you slice it. And then he also shared a panel from the manga where eventually later on there is a moment where the two leads end up back, they reappear in school after an event with the aliens and the yokai, and they're both naked, and all of their classmates are around. They're like, "What the heck?" And it's played for comedy. Yeah. And Chibi posted that panel and said, "Gee, I wonder what this is going to I wonder what the normal suspects on Twitter are going to feel about this." Obviously, and raising what Nerdigans is talking about, which is, "Oh, there's some skin. You're the worst. We have to destroy you. You're awful. Blah 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 blah." So off of those two tiny posts, for the next 4 days, Chibi finds himself being harassed, insulted, intimidated, followed everywhere around the internet, just being trashed by people who think he's a gigantic, PDF file pervert because he praised animation and then said, "Oh, I wonder what people are going to react." He literally called them out. He predicted their behavior, just like Nerdigans was talking about with the other manga, where he was like, "I bet the people on Twitter are the normal ones on Twitter are going to react a certain way about this," and they definitely did. So that builds on for a couple days, and then. So I learned this through the event and from Nerdigans. There's apparently another image board out there called the Soyjack forums. And on those forums, it's sort of,
it's like 4chan, but worse.
Well, it's supposed to be like lawless 4chan, lawless 8chan. We see this every time, somebody puts in a new rule on a social media platform. Somebody says, "I'm out of here. I'm going to a new one." And then maybe 5 people use it for the rest of forever because everybody realizes it sucks. So that's what Soyjack is. And on Soyjack, they started hosting like they started like sharing full-on docs of Chibi, including like his brother's address, his medical records, all of this stuff, just because he shared this opinion. And then they took it a step further by hacking into his DeviantArt account and uploading actual CSEM, child exploitation materials, to his account. So that's sort of what I was at least getting at, is that this mentality where you go, no matter what, I'm on the right side, it doesn't matter. That leads these weirdos to go, I'm so righteous that I'm going to accuse you of distributing this stuff, but I have it on hand to put on your account. You take that. Like, it's an absolutely insane thing. And so then off of all of that, yeah, then we arrive to where Nerdigans, I think, wants to pick up, which is dealing with all of this. You know, the announcing the lawsuit, showing his heater, all of that sort of fun stuff. So I'll let you take it from there, Nerdigans, because now this is your bread and butter.
Yeah, so like, I do want to mention something though, that,
and yeah, I'm sure I left something else. So yeah, build on
but
it,
like, but there's something. Well, there's the gray area here with the forums, with the Soy Jack forums. They say that doxing is okay, is not we don't encourage it, but if it's okay, if it's the right people, kind of thing. But there's something that I've seen a lot of in series I cover, and it just hits. This hits that it's easier to fight in the name of villainy than it is for justice, because villainy is more easily defined than justice. Justice has that overall definition, but if you fight straight in the name of justice, that eventually you will cross in over that line into villainy, and that's what this is. That's what.
Hey, Nerdigans.
Yeah.
There's a quicker, dumber quote that sums that up.
What?
From an even dumber production. It's from The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
That is very true too. but yeah, so I found this on, and also Chibi posted these posts too. I didn't want to like directly post the ones from Soy Jack, because that had
no, I think you made the right call. Just because they're out there doesn't mean we have to bring attention to where they are.
But yeah, this site is just insane. You think 4chan is wild? No, this 4chan got nothing on this. But yeah, Chibi is not screwing around. I'm glad he's not screwing around. The moment that the doxing happened, he said he was straight up lawyering up, which is the right thing to do. And the moment that the CSEM came into play, yeah, that's when you get the FBI involved. Like, these people are stupid. And the fact that you're bragging about it is the dumbest thing you could do. And every time, you guys are so stupid. Why would you brag about it? It's beyond me. But they feel the need to brag about it on social media.
It's because we have, in this era, you know this, Nerdigans. I'm not saying anything new. Everybody knows this. I'm just summarizing. It's like, right now, being seen as that important fighter for whatever cause is on your side, that is like the biggest clout anybody can sort of wield right now, is that I'm an icon, I'm a leader of this movement. Again, doesn't matter what side it's on. That's how a lot of people position themselves. So the more narcissistic and deluded among them, they go, oh yeah, like I was saying, I'm fighting for the right thing. No matter what I do, I'm right, because my side will win eventually. It's that thing I sort of talk about, especially with neoliberals, the people on Twitter, like the reactionaries. Yeah, the ones who go, remember, like I say at every stream, they will say whatever it is in this moment to win, regardless of what contradictions happened in the past or how this might affect them later on. So in their minds, they're going, yes, I'm putting up this exploitation material. He's going to get the blame for it. That's a win for us. They're not thinking about what comes after that? Where do they link it back to me? How do they investigate this? What's going to do? They just see they're going to get him. We're done. We're done here. Awesome. They don't think about consequences. They don't think about anything except for this right now. I need to feel good and I need to feel better than you.
Well, I agree with Leslie, though. They do that to give their sad lives meaning.
Oh, it's 1,000%, Leslie. 1,000%. Oftentimes the ones who are the loudest crusaders on almost any topic, it doesn't matter, politics, art, whatever, the loudest ones are the ones who sort of have the least to fight for, don't have a lot going on. They're the ones who are sort of, I don't know, attaching themselves to a movement. Grifting, honestly, is probably the term I'm going for here. Like just the ones who are always so loud, always so I'm the top, I'm the best, support me. Those are generally, there are exceptions, obviously, because nothing is absolute in life, but generally those are the ones who you go, you don't know anything about what's going on here. You're not really part of this. You just saw a movement that you could grip onto for your own ego.
Well, it looks like that's how things are going to go with the lawsuit. You know, and usually these guys talk to each other when they do this stuff, so you're going to have somebody that will sing to the police, to the law enforcement, about their involvement, who they were involved with, and what everybody's motivations were.
These are the same people who can't make like a pizza delivery phone call. There is absolutely no way that the second, it doesn't even need to be like a uniformed police officer. It can be a dude in a polo tucked into his belt, and they will immediately turn. They'll go, I'm sorry, I'll tell you everything. Just don't get me in trouble. Don't get me in trouble. Don't get me in trouble.
Whoa, FedEx, just dropping off your dildo.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go, exactly.
I'm gonna back away slowly. You have fun with those, not all at once.
We're putting a delivery hold on this address.
You've had enough.
But
We're
like,
cutting
it's
you
so
off.
funny. It's just so funny. Like every time, and you know, the communities I'm part of, like they noticed it too, that every time they attack the anime community, whether it be, you know, Lolly or Shota, and call them pedophiles, they're usually the ones that are pedophiles. Every time. The loudest ones are usually the pedophiles.
A lot, and that applies to both left and right. It's anybody.
Yeah, it's not a political thing.
I have brought this up very often. The ones who constantly talk about and are very performative about, like, we need to protect the kids, everybody up against the wall right now, I don't care. Those are the guys where you need to be like, give me your computer, let me see your email, let me see what you're talking about, man. Because those are the ones who are like, what they're trying to do is like magician sleight of hand, where they're going, look over here, so that you don't notice that over there they're actually doing a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, like because I'm friends with a lot of lolicons. They're like, yeah, we know who to watch out for. The ones that are the loudest and the ones that are attacking us. Yeah, we know it's them. We know those are the real ones that are just trying to pin their crap on us.
And guys, it's not even like this specifically, like PDF files. It's anything like censorship, no taxes, racism, whatever topic you hear somebody bleeding about. They're almost like, if they're super loud and super just performative, they're 98% of the time completely guilty of what they're yelling about.
I heard a stupid opinion, so I just decided to pop
Holy
in.
He's here!
Yep.
You made it!
Yep, I'm here. I'm in full camo, and I'm ready to go. So let's do this. What were we talking about? I don't get it.
You're ready to vote?
Oh, way to go, Cider.
You ready to vote for what? Ready to vote?
I didn't have a joke. I was really hoping that the cutoff would keep going. So
in the sky, you feel that heat, it's about to fly. This ain't just hoops, this your life on the line. We fighting for more than peace this time. And please don't give up on this, my valiant heart. In the face of fear, I promise I won't fall apart. Through the fire and the rain, for you I'll stand tall. Take my hand, and together we'll never fall. I promise.
Jeff was beginning to wonder, who are these people? Why were they the stars of every television show he tried watching? Did he eat edibles and forget? Forget what? Jeff asked the British voice inside of his head. You'll find out, Jeff. You'll find out.
this is not financial advice, but if I were a betting man, I would definitely get some puts on Ubisoft right about now.
Blade, the movie that nobody wanted, but the gift will keep on receiving.
The Nintendo ninjas haven't come yet, or will they ever be coming?
I'm not weird for liking Rouge's boobs. You can't tell me I'm weird for liking Rouge's boobs. I refuse. I refuse to be told that I'm weird for liking Rouge's boobs.
Well, we won't tell you, but I mean, you know.
do not let them shame you. We must return to bat boobies. This is the official stance of this
bat
channel.
Boobies is where we're at now.
Dude, I
thought that was called Barbara Gordon.
No, her movie got canceled.
Are you saying that because she's in a wheelchair that she can't have great boobs?
That's not progressive.
Hold on, we just had a DC Sonic crossover, and they didn't take advantage of that. They didn't take advantage of that.
We haven't seen Rouge yet. I mean, we know that this is probably the beginning of the end for her, like as a general character. But yeah, like when I was, to your point, Jacob and Cider, like I was writing that article, and it was kind of like later, you guys were all asleep, and I messaged some friends, and I was like, man, I need a new job. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's not necessary. I just don't know where my life is at right now, man. And then they're like, what are you writing? I'm like, just hold on. And I sent them the Sega Censors Rouge's back, and I'm like, this is where I'm at. It's important. We need to talk about it. But I think I need like a minute to like reconsider where I've been.
No, guys, this is a hard-hitting issue.
No, it's like that's literally it is, but also it's like I understand. I'm talking about the cartoon Bat's boobs. Like I 100% understand that.
This is how far we've fallen as a society. We have to have this conversation. That we have to sit down and talk about bat boobs. We can't just accept that they're there. We have to talk about them now.
Spencer just looks at his transcript from UC Irvine and cries at night.
Paid a lot for this. At least I have all the synonyms to describe cleavage on an anthropomorphic fuzzy bat.
While saying I'll never financially recover from this.
Are you proud of me, Dad? Are you proud of me up there?
Oh, man.
Speaking of proud, though, this fella decided to turn his Cybertruck into a warthog. That's
a warthog.
A warthog.
That actually is like the coolest a Cybertruck has ever looked, and it actually kind of works. Like that would work in Halo. It doesn't work in real life, but it works in Halo.
That is pretty cool, though.
Does it actually shoot?
No. Why would
I don't know
how?
It could be darts. It could be Nerf darts. It could be a Nerf dart engine.
It could be a rubber bullets.
I mean, that's even that. Yes, that too. But that's even.
I mean, I would prefer like like a rail gun, maybe like electromagnetic pulse guns. Remember one of those like super. Remember one of those like super OP like guns from like Battlefield 4 where it was one of those special issue DLC and then they have to like nerf it immediately because people just like one shot at people.
Buying it, yeah.
Now, real quick, just hear, where do you guys live where you can like shoot projectiles out of your moving vehicles? Where do you live where you're allowed to do that? Because where I live, that's
Arizona.
super duper not okay.
Bro,
it's not okay, but I can get away with it.
Bro, I'm in the South. Well, you can shoot whatever the hell you want down here.
Well, I mean, like in a moving vehicle. I
know the fact that Nerdigans is looking at this on her screen right now means the police are coming to her because she's in California. But I know that Jacob basically lives in the Wild West, so nobody's coming to stop
I have a picture of a dead armadillo on my phone right now.
Hey, I'm not in the Bay Area anymore. I'm in Central California. Like, if you're like in Dixon,
okay, that's fair. That's fair. That is a little more that does.
Central California, as what we like to call it, the void.
It really is.
It really is the void. Like if you're like in Central California, or if you're like in the northern part of California, like outside the Bay. Let me reword this. Outside the Bay Area and Los Angeles County, it really is the void.
Apparently,
it's all farmland.
apparently the fellow that drives
Moral of the
this,
story is, Cider, if you want to start shooting some stuff and not have to go to jail, all you have to do is just move just a little bit south from where you're from right now.
He lives in
yeah, it's not like the police are going to come get me, Jacob. There's 16 deputies to about 13,000 people. I'm pretty sure I could do whatever. I could walk around my neighborhood buck ass naked and nothing would happen to me. But I don't want to go to jail in the event that there is a police officer that catches me shooting Nerf darts out of a car.
Is it one of those like towns where it's like, oh my god, he's on the run? Did Dale cut him off or no? Then he's gone.
There's 700 people that live in this town year round, Jacob. 700 people, and I don't think all of us have ever been in the same place at once. So. So here you go. Apparently, this fella is also Turkish, so that's neat. He's the Cyber Turk.
The Cyber Turk. Okay, now I want to watch like a show, like a cartoon where they
Turkish Halo. Turkish Halo.
I was gonna say I want to see Cyber Ottoman War. I want the Cyber Ottoman
Ottoman War
right now.
Instead of being like an allegory for the Iraq-Afghanistan war, it's about the Byzantine Empire versus the Ottomans.
and just that, like only hardcore, super on the nose political commentary, but only about like all those events from like 20,000 years.
Space political commentary. Yes.
Space Cops. I feel like we've seen this movie already.
A lot.
It's called Jason X.
There's asshole. That's the word I meant to say. Asshole. But there's actually a over on Shout Factory streaming. They have Space Precinct. That was a British-made television show about American cops in space, and it is trippy and it is also wholesome AF.
So wait, it's
highly
just
recommend.
like not super powered or anything. It's just like cops in space.
Yeah, it literally just beat cops in space. A guy is taken from Earth and sent out to deep space to be a cop with other cops and also aliens that are also cops. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Does the beginning of the thing go? Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, bad boys, what you want?
It has like a 90s over the top heroic theme song. It kind of sounds like Reboot's theme song. And miniature sets. That's how they show the spaceships going around. They put them on miniature sets, like the old. They kind of look like Mystery Science Theater, but they're way better done.
Do you remember the like cops? It wasn't actually related to cops, but like the cops cartoon that was in the 90s. That was so random, but let's do that.
Genius.
That's what you're reminding me of. But less cartoony, obviously, or maybe just as equally as cartoony, considering they're in space.
Well, speaking of good ideas for properties, we probably won't be hearing that out of Netflix's AAA studio Team Blue, which is now Team Unemployed. Yep.
Yes. You take it, Cider. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know, it's very simple. Netflix had the intention of becoming a AAA game studio. They already make mobile games. They do mobile ports for games like Call of Duty, and they are pretty successful at it. They have a pretty okay mobile market built right into the Netflix app, and it's okay. They decided, though, they weren't satisfied with that, and they were going to expand into AAA gaming because movies are dead, and that didn't go well. They apparently got to the planning stage after hiring a bunch of people from Overwatch, Halo, and another property. I can't remember the name of it.
I remember the Halo and Overwatch one. There is another big one that's like sitting on the top of my tongue. You're right.
Yeah.
So because it's in California, can we blame Nerdigans solely for this happening?
She didn't subscribe to the top tier of Netflix. This is her fault. Not enough funding came in.
Yep, this is Nerdigan's fault for illegally streaming and robbing money from Netflix. If you had just given them $20 a month, they could have saved, multiple jobs.
Are empty because you didn't watch Atlas last year on the streaming service. Okay, right?
No, I'd rather sail the high seas than watch anything or pay for anything on Netflix.
So just right here and here, tell level up.
And that's exactly how we got here.
Yeah.
Well. Speaking of sailing the high seas, you might be interested in finding out just what Chick-fil-A's streaming service is.
Oh, God. Yeah, you still don't get a free meal with it either.
And so they've released a trailer for The Legends of Evergreen Hills. No, that is not about old people in an old folks' home trying to stay alive as their caretakers kill them. It is about children
That would be
in what appears to be a magical land populated by old people.
by old people.
So kind of a retirement home. But yeah. So what this story is that every time somebody gives somebody a hug or
I
shows
remember
love, it creates
Encanto.
Yep. So every time somebody shows love or gives you a hug or has some type of positivity in the world, it creates a life spark. And these life sparks are attracted to the life spark tree. And some assholes want to take that power and change their destiny using it. And so that's the story. And Chick-fil-A made it. And it kind of looks like the trailer to a mobile game from China. So I don't really know.
That definitely looks like Unreal assets that they just downloaded from the store.
Yeah, it feels pretty close to like this is Unity pre-rendered stuff.
Yeah.
We hired a very nice man on Fiverr to help us with this.
Ubisoft hired this man, and they did.
But as you can see, all of the characters that are in this magical world are either children or they're elderly. So. As usual, old people are going to save the day. If you liked Troll Force,
or whatever, the Guillermo del Toro thing, right?
The Guillermo del Toro troll thing. You're probably gonna hate this because it's a pretty much straight ripoff. But yeah,
but with like worse production value. I'm in a weird, I don't know my opinion on it, because on one hand, like that does look really bad. It looks very lazy, like everything we said, Cider, it's Unity. But then this is like this is Chick-fil-A. They're doing can I even really be mad about it?
I so can't wait for 5 years when we're all subscribed to Taco Bell Plus.
Taco Bell Plus, Max Plus. All right, we're gonna need to get that the new episode of the CGI Chihuahua dog miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's coming.
Like Taco Bell Plus is gonna be like nothing but stoner content. Like it's literally just gonna be nothing.
Cider and I are customers 1 and 2.
Baja Bros, the real life of Baja Bros, and it's just like beach cops.
Starring Matt Riddle.
No, it'd be Baja dogs, Baja Chihuahua dogs.
They're police dogs that actually arrest people. Yeah, that's perfect.
It'll be like Beverly Hills Chihuahua. That's exactly. Yeah, it'll be exactly like
right. That'd be great. That'd be what it is. They'll revive the Beverly Hills Chihuahua franchise, but he'll be like a gritty cop Chihuahua.
Imagine
Chihuahua.
Imagine 20 years ago explaining to someone the idea of Taco Bell Plus, and they would probably be like, "Oh my god, that sounds amazing!" And then 20 years later, the realization of it just makes you want to cry.
No, like if you went 20 years in the past and you were like, "Hey, 20 years old or 20 year ago, Jacob Nerdigan Cider."
Yeah, you're 40 now. You know that?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. You should probably think about getting out you're in the future. They're gonna have a Taco Bell streaming service. We would all be like, why? What are we doing here? And then we would be even more baffled because 20 years later, we would go, we all knew it was a bad idea back then. Who greenlit this? Who is still doing this? Like, do you remember Quibi?
That's deep fried. I was thinking to myself now, it's like, what is it you can even put on these streaming services? Because I mean, we've already ruined all the good shows that have been rebooted over the last 30, 40 years. Like there are no good shows. Like you can't reboot Charmed. You already ruined that. You can't reboot Party of Five or 90210. And we even did Baywatch Bad. So it's like, what is there?
Twice. I feel
a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they were both awful. So it's like you have to sit there after a while and just be like, there's nothing left to remake. You ruined everything.
Well, there's Rugrats too. And I mean, they're doing that movie.
Exactly. But that's coming down the pipe at this point. That's sort of it, right, Jacob? Like I look at this and I'm like, what else could they have done except a generic sort of kids fantasy movie? I don't know. It all feels cynical. It doesn't feel like anybody actually really wanted to make this. It felt like everybody just went, we've got to make something for it. What'd you say, Cider?
I tell you where they could have gone. They could have gone to hell.
No.
Not them. Not them. Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite replies to their trailer on Twitter was, will this be streaming on Sundays?
Now, I would laugh if they go full in on the gimmick and it's like it's unavailable on Sundays.
404 for the next 24 hours. We'll see you on Monday. 404, see you on Monday.
You know what they could have done? They could have done what they could have done like what we had growing up with the McDonald's cartoons.
Sure.
I can't.
They don't
wait
have
for
a mascot though.
None of them have. They have those cows. That's about all Chick-fil-A.
Do they? I don't.
Like, and that's it. I'm right there with you, Cider. I'm just saying that's all they have. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying that's what you have to pull from.
Hold on. There are a bunch of abandoned 80s and late 70s children's properties that are horribly traumatic.
Nobody wants the snorks.
Well, I'm just saying, imagine if they were out there trying to like make chicken burgers underwater. You know? And that's
SpongeBob?
like yeah, exactly. Just do snorks, but they make chicken burgers.
But they make chicken instead.
Right. And they don't
yeah, okay. I can see that actually sort of working. That would actually get them sort of a win.
Right, and the Snorks have a restaurant, and they some guy goes in and he has kind of get a fillet of fish, and they just stare at him, you know.
I'm just
like
sort
we
of
serve
surprised-
chicken here.
I'm surprised we didn't get like the cows in an animated like Family Guy type series. Like I feel like that's the lazy, easy option that everybody would have taken.
Yep, they could have done that.
Okay, so this may be a super deep fried reference here. Some of you guys may have PTSD when I remember this. Do you guys remember like the Sega Genesis era, right? So this is going back 30 years at least. Do you remember that they did a 7-Up video game for the Sega Genesis called Spot Goes to Hollywood?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. That game sucked.
They had McDonald's games. They had multiple McDonald's games.
They had Burger King games. They had the Sneak King.
Yep, they had the Burger King. Every product had a video game at one point. Pizza Hut.
California Raisins had a game.
They invented the Noid just for the Domino's video game.
The Noid.
And you know what led to them like ending the Noid, right? That crazy dude who thought that the Noid was making fun of him until he went up and shot.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, go look into that whole reference.
Marketing is so fun, guys. Anything can happen to your product.
Pepsi Man.
Just go nuts.
Pepsi Man.
That's right.
Imagine being told, yeah, some crazy guy named John Noid killed a bunch of people because he thought that you were making fun of him. So we have to change the mascot. It's like, what the hell does that have to do with us? We tell him to shoot you. You know how much work I put into creating the noise?
Took me 10 whole minutes.
The entire campaign.
We had a Noid cinematic universe.
Go full Nate Diaz. It's like, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker.
But dude, there's the Ronald McDonald universe that we had and the Burger King Kids universe.
That's right. Chex Quest. Chex had a video game.
Chex Quest was great. Like but that's the thing, Nerdigans. I feel like we're looking at that nostalgically because even as an adult, like now I look at the Ronald McDonald stuff and I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Was that really a big selling point? Was it that quality? Oh, they kind of just stood there to get you to go buy more McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. And remember, speaking of McDonald's, just for a quick sidebar, I mentioned this last week on a culture show. Remember when the fries were actually good? Anyone remember? Anyone old enough to remember a time where McDonald's fries were actually good?
I've heard like 90 different theories as to why they're bad. I don't know which one is right, but yes, I do remember.
I remember it too, and I also remember a time when Burger King's chicken tendies were delicious, and when Wendy's had actual good fries.
Mm-hmm. And nuggets, and the nuggets are trash now too.
Yes. I miss those days. Why can't we have good nuggets again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you ever tried to get a junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's these days? It's like the size of a hockey puck, and it's like $3 now. It's like, what happened?
What happened to getting a junior bacon cheeseburger for $1?
It's the economy. Thanks, Obama. Like
yeah,
a little unironically.
remember when you could get a kids meal from Taco Bell?
No, I really don't.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a brief time when they were doing toys and everything. Yeah,
you could get a kids meal from Taco Bell.
I think the second Men in Black movie had toys.
I remember they did the promo with Star Wars, and you could get like the cups, the like special character cups. I had a bunch of those.
Growing up in California, people only went to Taco Bell for one or two reasons. One, you were high and you had the munchies, so it's like, okay, let's just order a whole bunch of tacos and eat that for the rest of the night. Or two, you were drunk and you were coming home, and it was like, well, it was open at 2:00 in the morning. Oh, there's Taco Bell across the street.
Jack in the Box too.
and Jack in the Box, to be fair.
Now, Jack in the Box is where you, it was either Denny's, Jack in the Box, or Taco Bell is where you went.
Or if you grew up in Southern California, you would have these 24-hour Mexican shops that would be like, hey, let's just go get a California burrito at 2 in the morning and sit outside and eat it like a homeless person.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a happy place at 2 a.m. outside of the taco place. Like,
if you're sitting in front of a Mexican restaurant at 3 in the morning eating the California burrito, that's like a reevaluating your life situation.
Hey, at least you got like way better tacos down there than we do up here. Well, we actually, Central California actually has some really good tacos.
You know, I think we need to do like a bounding into fast food.
A bounding into foodie.
Bounding
cast.
into review, bro.
To keep it together, we'll call it bounding into calories. That's BIC still, so it's bounding into calories. And we'll just do a stream. We'll just do streams.
We just talk about all the crap that we used to eat 30 years ago.
Yeah, all the shit that's in the menus now. You know?
Does anyone remember nacho cheese Cheetos? Remember when those were?
Do you remember when Taco Bell was forced by the federal government to admit that they did not use 100% beef in their slop in the tacos? They had to admit it was some of the oats.
I remember that.
It was like Quaker Oats was mixed in there.
Yeah, but then nobody cared. They were all like, that's sort of
like it's not rat shit, so I'm okay.
Yeah, like that's exactly it. When
it's not dead armadillo, so I'm good.
When people try to tag a fast food place like for their quality, it's sort of like, well, as long as it's not like rat feces. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's literally the line. Most people are like, I'm fine so long as there's not like shit everywhere. Like that's when that you remember McDonald's got hit with that whole like we found feces in the water dispensers and things like that. You know, they did the test and they were like, oh my gosh. It's like, well, yeah, there's a bathroom less than 15 feet away and there's a constant stream of people coming in and out of there because the food that's there makes you shit yourself. So like, what do you expect? Of course,
that's why they have to put the signs up and be like, wash your hands, you nasty bastards.
People assume that poo gas just smells like poo gas and there's not bacteria in the poo gas that makes that smell. It's like when you smell poo gas, there's poo bacteria on whatever is near the poo gas. So yes, there's going to be shit particles on the water dispensers.
Sakura asked, have you guys heard of Beans Pizza?
No.
Because I've never heard of this place. Is that a fast food place? Because all I'm imagining is just like British refried beans on like a piece of bread. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, they do have Dr. Pepper beans now, and according to taste testers, they're pretty smooth.
I've actually seen those.
Yeah, they're pretty smooth.
That.
So, you know.
Yeah, you know, now the economy's so bad, you just have all these places making like weirdo like snacks and drinks. It's like Skittles is now making like fruit drinks now, and I'm just kind of like, really? Is this what we're doing now?
I mean, I wish they would just, instead of doing like food development, go back to making the Happy Meal toys better. Like nowadays, all you get is like a plushie, a keychain, and it's not even like a big plushie. It's like that little, like that big, and it's like, have fun, kid. And
they're not even made in China anymore. Now they're made in like Taiwan. Now China's too expensive for them.
Don't tell Simu. Don't tell Simu.
Well, you saw like if you've seen like the well, we showed the Precure toys that McDonald's Japan's doing, but if you see like the Tom and Jerry toys that are coming out of McDonald's Japan, they're adorable too.
I believe it. Yeah, no, the problem with America is that we are such a low trust society, right? And because of that period in the early 2000s where everybody sued over everything, like nobody wants to take a risk anymore for absolutely jack. Like that's one thing like the British actually have over us. Remember like Wonder Balls? They still get actual toys over there. We only get stickers because we're dumb and we'll eat, you know, the tiny Timon and Pumbaa and go, you didn't tell me I could choke on that. And it's like, what'd you expect?
Like I said, there's that guy who drunk like 10 5-hour energy drinks, almost died, and then tried to sue the company after the fact. And they literally had to go like, well, if you read our bottle right here, it says do not take more than 2 in a 24-hour period. You took 10.
So, that's on you, buddy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, fast food outside of America has just been better as of late. Like in like the Middle East, for example, McDonald's there uses kosher ingredients. So
I don't care. I don't have to give him a W. That doesn't mean it tastes better.
But you know what it is? So I'm not sure if you guys knew. Have you ever heard of the app called Yuka? Do you guys use this app?
No.
So there's a app you can download right now for free called Yuka. It's Yuka. And what it does is that you can scan everything that you buy that has a barcode on it. Basically, at the grocery store, you can go ahead and scan it, and it tells you essentially how poisonous it is for your health. And it highlights like literally all the ingredients that it says on the bag. It scans them and says that, oh, this additive here is linked to cancer and diabetes and kidney disease and all this stuff. So you basically get to see exactly what's in your food that's actually killing you and making you sick.
I mean, that's awesome. And I mean, everybody should be informed. I personally am at the point where it's like, I'm going to die from something eventually. I don't like, all right.
Doritos and corn chips it is.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, I'm going to die. It's already too late for me to have been like health conscious to like save myself from the microplastics and all that stuff. So it's like, whatever. Hit me with the Chips Ahoy with Sour Patch Kids in them. I don't care.
You give me some flavor paste number 5. That's all I need.
So there's a McDonald's in Portugal that is way over the top. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this place.
More than in Japan, because I mean they have like they got burgers that turn your poop blue. Like, I don't know if you know about that.
Look at that,
like black squid ink burgers.
That's the front door of the place right there. Okay,
where is this?
This is in Portugal.
Okay,
and when you go
like Germany, you had to take those down.
Yeah,
this is where
you're required to goose stomp into the restaurant.
So
the line, yeah.
You order your cheeseburgers underneath stained glass.
So that the Roman Catholic Church is buying McDonald's. Is that what's happening here,
dude? Right.
And this is where you eat inside the place. So there you go. I don't know, man. Like I think you have to wear like a tie in order to have like big nuggets here and a Big Mac. You know. Like
I almost feel like I can't really say I've ever gone into a McDonald's now. Like I feel like that should be the standard. Everywhere else I've been has just been not great.
Well, let's be honest. American McDonald's has fallen off ever since they got rid of the ball pit. I mean, like without the ball pit, it's like, well, why isn't he even there?
They have chandeliers. Look at this. This is the entrance to this place.
Oh, is that the one in Canada in Montreal?
No, this is one in Portugal.
Portugal. Oh, because I was gonna say there's one in there's a McDonald's in Montreal, and I think there's one in Victoria, if I remember correctly, that have chandeliers too. And the one in I think it is in Montreal. I can't remember, but yeah, there's like it's 2 floors and it has a chandelier on the second floor. Yeah, I went there like over 10 years ago.
You literally can book a view over the bay while you're at McDonald's.
That's crazy.
Look at this. You're having your Big Mac.
That's way too
It's playing like some really snooty, like, classical music.
It probably makes everything taste better. I'm not even gonna lie.
But it would, because their stuff is way not like ours. Is just processed schlop. Like that SpongeBob episode where they're stamping out cheeseburgers in the back out of garbage.
That's how we do it here. Oh yeah.
Imagine sitting there with like the oceanfront view and like red wine. They just feed you like a McChicken.
But like there's like people that feed it to you though. They lean over you and cut up your burger for you and put it in your mouth.
Put it in those little golden tins where they reveal it to you, and it's like, oh yeah.
Right. But it's steam's rolling off of it. The potato, the fries were hand cut by an artisan chef.
Find some really douchey chef who comes in there and sprinkles just a little bit of salt on your food.
Well, speaking of really douchey stuff, there's a Ratchet and Clank neat little game, sub game that involves some pirates that sing along a very strange message. So let's take a listen.
I hope your memory be short. Of girls in respectable positions.
positions of power.
Shout outs to feminism!
So there you go. Some robot Simon Says pirates remind you that
I remember when that first dropped, when Rift came out like 4 years ago. I rolled my eyes back then, and I just realized like I don't have anything for it this time around. I had stuff for it the last time, and I'm just
You know what it is? It's just like, stuff like that can be funny if they allow themselves to be a part of the joke. But it's like they take themselves way too seriously to ever like bite into it. Like I mentioned this a little bit last night. In WWE, there's this controversy going on right now because Carlito, who's been in WWE like forever, he is recently back on the roster. He made a little ad-lib joke at the expense of a couple of Japanese girls. Like they were like literally like speaking Japanese, and like what the guy couldn't understand like what he was saying. So as he walks away, he enters the scene. He turns around and goes, "Man, I need to learn Chinese." Now the joke is that clearly they're not Chinese. Like that's the whole bit, right? That's the whole funny part. And now people are like, I can't believe he would say something so racially insensitive and racist. Like he should be reprimanded. And apparently there's reports of like, oh, some of the staff were appalled and he would say such a thing. It's like, you guys are such
like I know you see me, like I follow your tweets and everything about it all the time, but like I'm, as a third party person, I'm sitting over here like, when did wrestling get so soft? Like that kind of a joke, like the edge, the race, that bad part, that's supposed to be part of the sell. That's the kayfabe. Like I don't understand why.
You're watching a television show with people who are basically exaggerated versions of themselves. You're watching a show understanding that it's not real. They're all just playing characters, right? So there's a level of, hey, look, just because a character says this doesn't mean he actually means this. This is all for the show. And now you have these emotionally, permanently butthurt people who have just overtaken the fan base. Now that's partly WWE's fault because they've spent so many years pandering to Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, gaining like the most liberal of liberal fan base over the last 10-15 years. And yeah, guess what? This is the end result now. So thanks, guys. I liked it better when it was basically a bunch of redneck truckers who still thought it was real.
I think I saw something from you where it was like, some fan is like, oh yeah, look at the Netflix audience, because WWE is going to like Netflix, like I think in like December, and somebody was like, oh yeah, look, Netflix has a base of like 30 million subscribers. Numbers are about to go up for WWE, and you retweeted them, and you were like, one, not everybody's gonna watch. Like, what are you even thinking here? And then you're like, two, that was their goal with, I think, what are they on now?
Fox.
Like they left, because they left, what was it, USA, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, they went from USA to Fox, and the whole narrative is, oh, we're on broadcast television now. Look at all the people we're going to have access to. Like, they got advertisement on the Super Bowl, which had like 120 million people watching all around the country, and they still couldn't get 2 million people to watch the show. So what makes you think that now everyone's going to... Not to mention that now, because they're on Netflix, people have to pay like $20 to $30 just to watch them a crappy 3-hour show on Raw.
It's copium, and it's great. Like, it does make me feel like it's entertaining to me because I get to watch it through your lens as a third party person, and I just get to go like, man, wrestling is so cooked right now, like it's so bad. But it does make me feel bad because I'm like, dude, I know Jacob loves this. Wrestling is cooked right now. This sucks.
Everything's great.
More forklift matches. That's what I'm talking about. If you want your ratings to get back up, do fun things again.
Go back to like dumpster can and a pole match or something. I don't know.
Go back to something. Rage in the Cage where like Undertaker was like 40 feet in the air.
Speaking of fun things, we have some not so fun things to talk about, like censoring Rouge the Bat.
Yes, we've finally made it. So as you can tell, we were clearly lost in a sodium hole with our fast food talk, and we are finally getting to our pop culture story, starting with that look at Ratchet. But yes, let's get into the story we were talking about at the top, which is the new Sonic game is out. It dropped on Friday, Sonic X Shadows Generations. Now, this is a extra remake, like a remake plus. It is a remake of the Sonic Generations from 2010, but it adds a bunch of Shadow DLC story, all that sort of stuff for him to have his own campaign. That's at least how it was marketed to us. But in the lead up to its release, we have discovered that, and by we, not just Bounding, but players, fans, everybody on social media, it's been found that Rouge is, out of nowhere, Sega decided that you kids can't see bare shoulders. You kids can't see bare bat boobies. You can't see any
all of a sudden we live in Saudi Arabia and you have to cover those ankles up, you harlot.
And what's funny about that is that it's like it's not even like true Sharia Middle East, but it's more like leftist Sharia Middle East, because there's those edits where like can't see Rouge's shoulders anymore, you can't see her cleavage anymore. They've also edited a bunch of like text to make it so everybody has to be nice to each other. Like there's a descriptor card, and if you guys watch Cider's video, he definitely hit on all of these, so you probably already know what I'm talking about. But for example, there's a profile card for Amy in the first Sonic Generations, and it mentions, yeah, this is Amy Rose. She thinks she's Sonic's girlfriend. She's in love with him, but he like doesn't always reciprocate, but she's still fighting by his side no matter what, and like the hopes that he'll notice someday. Now her profile is your standard sort of like, Amy's always cheerful and ready to help. Oh, great, you do have it. Oh, you pulled it up. So yeah, this is the, do you have the old one?
Yep, right
Is it in that same one? Yeah. So there's the old one. Young, cheerful girl hedgehog. Amy can be a bit obsessed about chasing Sonic. She even claims to be his girlfriend. She's an energetic go-getter who lets nothing get in her way. So that's what it was before. And now we have, as Cider had, a cheerful girl who loves to help others. Sonic inspired her to be her very best. She's an energetic go-getter with the help of her Pico Pico hammer and fortune cards. Nothing gets in her way. Did they not capitalize that? They didn't capitalize that. Oh,
there's
no, wait,
no,
that's a comment. That's a comment. Yeah, that's really, but still, whatever it is, it's bad. But so that is what we're sort of looking at now with Sonic Generations. There's also another one.
At first I thought you didn't try, and I was sad. But then I realized you did try, and I got even sadder.
Hold on, Nerdigans. Before that, the other censorship thing or edit that I want to note, because it's so innocent and so dumb to do, or like it's an innocent thing and it's so dumb that they changed it. For those of you who don't know what this game's premise is, Sonic Generations is basically the old school 16-bit Sega Genesis Sonic, time warp shenanigans, ends up in the modern, Sonic Adventure, Sonic World, and you play out your adventure like that. So at one point in the game, when Knuckles finds the old Sonic, they meet up and he goes, "Hey Sonic, whoa, have you put on a little weight?" And classic Sonic looks down and he like rubs his stomach. He's like, "What?" And the joke there is that it's not him being fat, it's that his old design was just way more round compared to what it is now. That's the joke. And now in the new one, Knuckles just goes like, "Oh, Sonic, you look different." And like, it's like, did we really need to take out this funny little, like, is anybody going to shit their pants? I mean, yes,
well,
shit their pants.
No. It says, "Sonic, you look different." Anyway, have you seen the other half of my island? And then Sonic still rubs his stomach as though he ate it.
Yeah.
The thing that annoys me about these changes, okay, and as you alluded to, is that they're absolutely unnecessary. We have a few of them here that Grum's highlighted that you brought up here. So Amy,
this one. I knew there was a bunch that I was.
Nerdigans, right?
So something that I saw this in Words of Paradise's video today is that a lot of this doesn't have to do with wokeness like people are saying. It's that this has to do with a lawsuit that happened a long time ago. And this is like post Generations release. And what happened was after this lawsuit happened, that a new writer took over, Ian Flannery took over, and for IDW Comics, because this is a lawsuit that involved, I think it was the Archie Comics writer at the time. Okay. And after IDW Comics took over, Ian Flannery decided that they're going to make everything
Flynn, by the way.
Ian Flynn. Thank you. So Ian Flynn had everything become like one canon. That's what they decided to do. And this is the mandates that Sega had for IDW comics. But this is because of what Ian Flynn decided to do. It applies for everything now, including the game.
Right. Okay. But so I believe do we have them up right now?
Yeah, that's right up there.
Okay. So this is you are correct. There is a set of sort of Sega mandates, but you've got your timeline a little jumbled because it makes in the timeline jumbling sort of makes the story get a little weird. So I'll streamline and then we can keep getting back into it. But basically, after Generations, when Archie lost the license to the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books and they went over to IDW, Sega went, all right, now that you're over at IDW, we're going to put really hard rules on how you can depict our characters. So you can't, and that's where you get a lot of these. They can't be too emotional. They can't lose. Knuckles can't leave the island a lot. So that's why when Ian Flynn came back for the IDW comics, that was basically these rules were put in place so that you wouldn't get the over the top original character Ken Penders level of Archie comics that Sonic got, where there are 900 original characters and everybody's personalities are different and it's confusing. They essentially wanted to streamline everything and make it make sense. So these are only rules for Ian. These are only rules for the comic books. This has nothing to do with what they're allowed to do with the games. And even if they did, nothing on this list specifically applies to any of the stuff we've seen right here.
But here's the thing with Rouge, though. It has to be approved. This is what Words of Paradise said is that it has to still be approved through Sega.
It does. But that's the problem.
But here's the thing though, is that a lot of people are saying this is all localizer stuff. This is the point I'm trying to make. Is people are saying this is localizer stuff when it's not. This is Japanese. This is at Japan level,
right? Right here. We're not saying that this is a localizer thing. What we are saying is that this, regardless, this is a Sega decision. We know that this is a Sega decision because it's in all the Japanese releases as well. Yeah. Like that's sort of always been known. None of that is. So what I'm trying to say here is like these mandates only exist for the comics. They have nothing to do with what you can depict in the video game. What Sega did to Generations is that was them individually going, let me look at this. We can't do this. It doesn't go into any role. It doesn't line up with any of that. Nothing on this mandate says you can't have Booba. Nothing on this mandate says Amy can't have feelings for Sonic, right? So it's sort of an unrelated situation. There are mandates, but
it says that none of the characters can get in a relationship. That's what stood out on this list.
But that is not what Amy was anyway. We knew that from the very beginning. Amy was not in a relationship with Sonic. It says that in her bios. It's been like that since CD.
Amy is quite literally a simp.
Yeah, that's exactly what she is. She is a female simp through and through and through. That's what we've always known that.
But I just wanted to make it clear going into Grum's tweet, because Grum's has been getting like destroyed for this, that this is not a localization thing that people are thinking it is. This is a straight up a Sega Japan thing at the source.
It is a Sega Japan thing, but you got to remember, Nerdigans, this doesn't exist in a vacuum. This exists in the world where we can't have short skirts, where we have to cover up everything, where every super suit, Power Girl can't have her window anymore. That's where the context.
We can't even have female Victoria's Secret models anymore. That's also been taken away from us too.
Well, no, really? Female Victoria's Secrets are coming back though. That's the thing. So
because I forgot you came in like super late last night. Well, we literally started last night's show talking about the fact that they literally have trans Victoria's Secret models during the last show they just did last week. There were multiple. We went through like the whole thing. So it was their first show back in like 6 years. And by the way, it's like, hey, surprise, we got penises. So
they're late to the virtue signal party. It feels like like that's not I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, okay, like did they at least look not like the ones on Twitter and
no, they look like something out of a Tim Burton movie. Let's just put it that way.
Perfect for the Hot Topic crowd.
So there were more of these stupid, insipid censors. Apparently, Sonic is no longer grabbing Amy by the face. There is no official explanation for any of this, by the way.
Yes.
We showed you the mandates. Mandates belong to the comic book end that Ian's working on. Sega, as Nerdigans pointed out, in Japan, made a decision to do all this natively. We pointed out earlier this year that they had one of the manga studio bosses was suggesting that his company at least was going to start self-censoring so they didn't have to spend the money changing things for the Western market.
But something I do want to mention, going back to the comics for a second, is it's funny that they're saying that Shadow can't be emotional in the IDW comics because covering the manga on my channel, in the Shadow manga, Shadow is actually pretty emotional because
the manga's a prelude or it's a prologue.
I know it's really good.
That's the point though, Nerdigans, is that he's happy at first, and then after everything with Maria, that's when he becomes the like shell of his former self. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that's interesting.
The other thing is that in Japan, crying means something different. In the USA, it is pretty much viewed when a male character cries that he's weak if he's not crying over the death of someone, and a boy character crying that is not being consoled by an adult can be viewed as child abuse. So they just do that so they keep Sonic in this nebulous space, and it annoys me. They keep him in this nebulous, him and Shadow in this nebulous space where they're 12 years old, but also 40. And I hate it. Mm-hmm. It's like, just make them kids and leave them there forever. It's fine if they're just kids and they don't know what's happening to them forever. It's okay. That's the point of Sonic.
And it's also annoying, Cider, because like they have 7 different timelines that they can play with. You've got adventure.
Not anymore.
Boom. Well, yeah, not anymore. They did. And it's like, you could have one that just leaves them as kids. You can have one that lets them grow up, but no, they all ended up being the same sort of like gray mush.
You don't want them to grow up. What is adult Sonic? What is adult Sonic? There's no answer for that.
When I say grow up, I don't mean like adult, but did you ever watch Sonic Boom?
Yeah.
That one was like, I actually kind of like that series, and that's what I mean by like growing up. Like 15 as opposed to 13, right? Like that. I don't want to see a 23-year-old super
Sonic's got his driver's license now.
Right, that's what I want to see. Those are the kind of like dumb hijinks I want to see out of them.
And they had like this sitcom sort of Eggman is my weird next door neighbor attitude with him, and that was much better. I liked having Eggman around communicating with the team as opposed to just by himself in a closet somewhere.
Me too. And I'm also glad that show brought back like it gave him the like Cube and Orbit or whatever, and like his 2 robot assistants, which are just like Grounder and what's his name from the like 90s cartoon. Yep. And I'm like, that's what works with Robotnik. He needs to have the 2 like dumb foils to always yell at. Like that's what he needs.
We do have a $5 super chat from Pinochet's Helicopter Tour.
Tony!
It says, as a member of the channel, by the way, feel free to check out that button yourself. And my first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy VII, ditto. I got it because of a 2-page ad lovingly known as Blindfold and a Cigarette. Look it up. Bring that culture and fortitude back.
I mean, like, so, let me, let's see if the ad is what I remember. I think we can show it. Let me just like pull it up real quick.
Well, as long as there's no nudity, it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was oh yeah, there we go. That's what it is. I'll shoot you the link, Cider, in the back. But so to Tony's point, first off, Tony, what's up, buddy? Always a pleasure to see you. Second, I agree. Like, I think most of us, or I'm pretty sure everybody here on the panel would agree that I don't even want to call it edgy marketing, but the sort of leaning into your demographic marketing, leaning into the fun of it marketing, that stuff needs to come back. The children yearn for it, not the actual children, but like we all yearn for it. We just ran a article about the president of Shift Up, the guys who do Stellar Blade and Goddess of Victory, Nikkei, and he's like, yeah, I just draw sexy characters because like I know that's what I like, and I know that's what my audience is gonna like. There's really nothing more to it than that. And it really is that. You can spend a bunch of money to do a bunch of focus groups and research and see, oh, what colors hit this way, what does it that way. Meanwhile, Jacob could open up like a restaurant tomorrow, throw a girl in like a Goku themed bikini, and that's it. Like that's all the planning he would have to do, and he's going to make zillions of dollars over the $30 we would have made from our really good research, whatever.
After getting a letter from the Toriyama estate too, so that as well.
You'll get a letter from his estate saying, "Can you send me the photos?" He was a big pervert.
So, as described by Pinochet's Helicopter Tours, member of the channel, we have someone please get the guys who make cartridge games a cigarette and a blindfold. And this is the Shinra live stream canon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, the big old Mako cannon to shoot the weapons.
The Mako cannon, thank you. That's what it is. And this was the prototype to this was the one that Genesis and Sephiroth slice up.
Yep.
In
Crisis Core.
And then the other.
No, not
It's the one with Zack. Where Zack's the protagonist.
Crisis Core.
Okay, Crisis Core.
There's like 7 spin-offs that all get weird. And they're all canon, and I never remember them.
Yeah, and I don't remember if they worked Genesis into the remake or not. But
I haven't. I think I haven't played I haven't played Rebirth yet, so I have no idea.
Okay.
But I want to say I've heard that he's back.
Yeah. So really, the Junyun canon before it's moved.
There you go. That's what it is.
Yeah, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus. Yep.
Like that ad is totally playing with the idea of like putting them up against a firing squad. Like the guys who did cartridges, they are done. Can't do that anymore. Otherwise, somebody's going to get offended. Somebody's going to lose their mind, and then you've spent half of your marketing budget on fighting whatever stupid lawsuit was thrown your way. But I definitely think we need old school, like, just for lack of a better term, titillation works. Bring it back.
Well, this user makes my point for me. He says Rouge has always been a busty character, and did nobody notice? And so the situation is that they've done every single game up until this point with Rouge having cleavage. Now, I would understand if in 1995 she had her boobs hanging out, okay? And they wanted to remake that game and decided to undo that. The way that they played around with the Lara Croft stuff in that remaster, that's not quite a remaster. But the way that they censored a lot of stuff in that one. But no, like Rouge just recently appeared in Frontiers, and she had her boobs hanging out, just as every other rendition of her has. Even in the Sonic Shadows Generations pre-anime thing that came out, what was it?
Like
just before the game. Yeah, last few weeks. She's wearing like a cat suit, granted, but her cleavage is still very present.
But her shoulders are covered.
Right, her shoulders are covered, but her cleavage is present. Yeah. And now they've gone and totally erased that. So it's the strangest censor, because now is the problem. I would get it if it was the 90s, I'd get it, but they just did a game in 2018 with her like this.
So here's something I was mentioning or like hinting at the top when we started, but I was like, I'm going to save it for the story. That's a point I wanted to bring up. How odd is it that she's only getting the treatment now when for the last forever? And yeah, you said 2021 or whatever, 2018 when not Frontiers, when Forces was, that's the last time she was around. She was fine there. Now, I was talking to a couple friends who play way more Sonic games than I do about this topic, and a couple of them informed me that they've not made a big to-do of it, but there's a very there has been a very noticeable shift since probably right after Generations, like whatever that game after that was, where Rouge is slowly being like left out of
dialed back.
Yeah, like they showed me a cutscene from Frontiers, and she's in that for a second, and you see like the back of her head, and then that's it. So that makes me think, like, if that's what they were trying to do, then they got to this game where it's sort of unavoidable that she has to be front and center, at least for one mission. Then they were like, oh, we have no choice, we have to do it. You know what I mean? So like, that's what I think it is. I think they were trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Well, and this is just it, is that Rouge is supposed to be the opposite to Amy. The purpose of her having cleavage, the purpose of her having a lower, more sultry voice, the purpose of her being emotionally manipulative, the purpose of her being older than Amy is to make her a direct sexual competitor to Amy. Let's not even try to sugarcoat it. That's exactly what Rouge is supposed to do. She's supposed to take advantage of the fact that she's pretty and boys like that, so she accomplishes her goals doing that. And that there's been no secret about that.
We used to call that a femme fatale.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yep. And this again has been a constant around Rouge. She's been described as this since she showed up. I think it's in her bio, in her original bio, that she's that.
I remember distinctly, and I feel like I'm revealing this to win the argument, and Jake will never let me live it down, but that's okay. I remember distinctly when playing Sonic Adventure 2, every time Rouge shows up, like even her like pre-battle, like just pose, she's got the jiggliest of jiggle fists. I noticed it as like an 11-year-old. I'm like, those are booba. That's awesome.
And not only that, but it was around the time where, remember, they had just shifted from the Sega console that pretty much died and never came back after like 30 years. And then it switched over to like Nintendo, right? So they were essentially trying to resurrect an already established fan base, but on a completely different game console that the old school fan base knew. Because I mean, up to that point, Sega and Nintendo were like competitors for like 10, 15 years. Now all of a sudden, it's big as video game mascots on Nintendo, essentially consoles, and everyone was like, "Yo, what the hell is this?"
It was so weird, and it still makes me laugh when people are like, "Well, Sonic's on Nintendo. Why is Mario not on like Sega?" And I'm like, first of all, nobody's making a Sega anymore. I don't know where this argument.
Sega's dead.
I've seen that argument like in the last few weeks, and I'm like, what console are they supposed to make it for? What do you want from them?
Those boys took one L with the Dreamcast, and they were like, "Nope, we're never doing this ever again."
Clearly, that must have been where all these like video game and Hollywood executives, they must have been in that C-suite, because that's where they got the idea to just cancel everything the second it stumbles.
Yep.
Well, and so
we can't have femme fatale characters anymore, Cider. Like, just all of them, whether it's Catwoman, whether it's Huntress, like all of these characters, like they've all had their personalities rewritten to be, well, not just the femme fatales, but any character who was sort of semi-known for being attractive, their character in the last 10 years has, I guarantee, been changed to generic badass. That's the word they use for every like character when they don't know what they're gonna do, but they want them to be tough and strong and, you know, against the chud idea. Like that's what they say, and they're badasses, and it's like, no, they're not. They're not anything.
It seems to be a war against, and Nerdigans can attest to this a little bit. It seems to be like they're actively going against any obvious female characters that have clearly defined female features and female curves. Like they just want to erase all those characters out of like every medium, whether it's video games or comics and whatever the case may be. It's like they're essentially going out of their way to quite literally kill femininity in women. And anything that looks to be too feminine just gets completely Thanos snapped out of existence. Can't have it.
I mean, it's like I've mentioned it earlier. It's the war on sex appeal. It just keeps proving Okubo's point. The world needs lewd. The world needs sex appeal. I'm telling you, go read Fire Force. You will thank me.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, no, go ahead. No, you go ahead. I didn't really have a point.
Like we were mentioning the whole thing with like wrestling earlier. Now it's this weird thing where it's like these modern fans, these modern new fans have only jumped on the bandwagon like in the last couple of years. They're going back to like watch stuff from like the early 2000s just so they can pretend to be offended by it. It's like, oh my god, can you believe that Stacy Keibler appeared in her bra and panties in a match in 2003? I can't believe they allowed this. I'm like, who are you? Like, who invited you?
Welcome to what we're dealing with in the anime and manga community, especially with the one with the egg crackers. I mean,
it's because one of the easiest things to like get there are like three topics that are very, very easy for people to sort of grift or grandstand on is the better one, and that's PFism, that's racism, and that's, you know, sexism against women. If anybody can, so that's why somebody goes in and they go, that's, you know, that's sexist. Most people aren't going to want to take the public image hit of going, no, it's not, because it's so easy to flip your defense into, look, he hates women, he hates black people, he hates whatever. So
he likes boobs. He must be a misogynist.
That's
like,
exactly, that's exactly what it is. So they take those issues because they know those are the ones where they can win very easily without any sort of pushback. And by the time it gets to the point of pushback, they've sort of infected at that root level so much that when fans like Jacob, who actually care, or rather don't care, get like the news of it, they go, what even happened? Who cares about? Like, who cares? Who cares?
Well, and, you know, really the biggest thing that I want to, like, you know, no pun intended, that I want to like draw everybody's attention to is that Rouge does not set an unhealthy body expectation. That is one thing that I want to
she's
really...
a freaking bat.
Well, it's not only that. It's not only that, but Rouge is not portrayed as being her features are not exaggerated. Her chest is proportionate to her midsection, as you can see right here. She's not some teeny tiny.
She's not like one of those weirdo women on Instagram who have like boobs the size of basketball. You can clearly tell that they're fake.
Bolt-ons, yeah.
Those ones are so bad, dude.
But so yes, Rouge is normally proportioned. That's correct. And this is what I really wanted. What I made the point of in the video is that it may make you uncomfortable, but I would think this is probably the most wholesome way you would want your child, your son or daughter, to come to you and have a conversation about body parts. That it should probably be the easiest way. That, Dad, I noticed that Rouge has boobies. And I noticed that the bats in the bat box outside don't have boobies. Why is it like that? You know, that's a very, probable thing that would happen. And so you would hope that that would be the way that your child would come to their realization that people are different than one another, if you will. And I think that it's okay to have Rouge as a character that introduces those thoughts because she's not a character that expressly draws your attention to them. Rouge is a femme fatale. She does use her appeal to get the boys' attention, but she is not as aggressive as she is in the fan art we've seen of her. Okay, let's put it that way. Yeah. And so I think that it is important to have a character who is 18 years old, behaving like an adult woman would be behaving at that age, certainly. And especially as a gem thief or a chaos emerald thief.
Right.
And so she's not meant to be a virtuous character. That's the other part.
She literally starts out on Team Dark. Like she's a villain.
And so this is why I said in there, this is a really good parenting tip. Here's a pro tip. I'm not a parent, but here's a pro tip. Just
you have to handle me. So you're basically halfway there.
So what I said was though, is that when your child has these questions, you had better hope it's about a cartoon bat.
Yeah, because if your kid's first introduction to boobs is those trans models from the Victoria's Secret, you're gonna have a much more uncomfortable conversation with that one than the other one. So there you go.
Yep,
and it's also like. Or go ahead, Cider. You had more point.
No, I was just wanted to say that Pinochet's helicopter steward here, member of the channel, he points out that they are trying to socialize the population to not be attracted to one another. They are depopulation. So.
Oh, I mean, it's that, and it's just an eternal. It's how do I even put this? They've made it so we erected our own panopticon. I know that's a nice $10 word, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. But my erected. But by convincing all of you that and like the royal you, not necessarily our viewers, but convincing you that it is bad to like booba, that it is bad to like that makes it so you sort of just self-defeat yourself all the time. You are constantly under the shadow of, I felt something completely natural by thinking a woman was attractive. Well, I'm a bad person now. What mea culpa do I have to give to get back into your good graces? It's all a very detrimental power play.
And it's all completely hypocritical too, because then you'll catch those exact same people perving out over some other girl because they have some kind of weirdo mommy issue fetish or something like that. And you sit there and go, so it's fine when you do it.
We saw it with Hades.
Right, with Hades. Yeah, exactly, Nerdigans. It's this concept of safe horny, because at the very core, even those types who are super puritanical can't deny their own urges or that they even have them. Like I know that Jacob, obviously a part of like Christian religion, is learning to temper them, but or like temper them, control it, but they sort of just want to deny that they ever have it, that it just doesn't exist. So when that gets to a point where they see a character that they like, whether it's like Lady Demetrescu or something, they go, it's okay for us to like this. Right? And then every website starts giving all these articles about, yay, look at this character, yay, because it's approved by what group? I don't know. I can't really specify, but just the social sort of like the right people said that this is okay. Now I can like it.
No.
Well, unless you have a better
she was claimed. I don't know. She was claimed by the lesbians. They initially said that she was a lesbian, and they fought about it all the time on Twitter and Tumblr. And then the creator of the storyline came out and said, yeah, she's a lesbian. Here's the thing about Lady D is that although she's an 8 foot tall, mega boobed, very attractive gal on the surface, right? She's incredibly abusive, experimented on her own children, killed them, brought them back to life, and then proceeded to do that to another child and became a horrific flying dragon with several puking vaginas. So yeah, not a win. Not a win. Not a win.
Never a win with these people. But the other thing that I do want to point out too is notice how it's kind of pointed. These people are more puritanical towards the Japanese characters.
Well, that is straight xenophobia.
That's what I was gonna say. It's xenophobic. It's
Like,
they're
we-
very.
yeah.
The Stay Horny is more towards the Western characters. It's
Mhm.
never
That
towards,
is true.
It's not the
If
Eastern
there's one country
characters.
that justifies being xenophobic against, it's Canada. But I can't.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're coming in and taking our comedy jobs. I'm not okay with it.
Build a wall with laser turrets.
Just get the laser to carve like a continuous
just
border.
vaporize somebody to the point where all that's left is just like maple syrup and like Canadian bacon.
Finally, something good out of them.
But yeah, it's always it's Hoyoverse, it's it's the Korean characters and it's the Japanese characters that they're always attacking. So it's very xenophobic.
We've touched on this on the show. You and Cider touch on this on Tokyo Happy Hour all the time. There is this giant anti-Japanese sentiment
or anti-Asian sentiment. It should be to be more specific.
Yeah, that's actually probably better. Anti-Asian in general, but then I'm just for the sake of the conversation going to specify on Japanese. But you are right, Nerdigans. I'm not disagreeing with you. But yeah, like because when it comes to like anime or video games, anything that comes out of there, even to this day, is strange and weird and icky and oh, they're so perverted. Oh, there's such a backwards culture. It's always been like that, and a lot of it is it's honest. It's jealousy. It's being threatened by having somebody else come and encroach on their turf, right? Because pre-2000s, Japanese anime and media was very much not the biggest thing over in the West. Yeah, you probably had a couple older brothers or friends who got random VHS tapes from the grocery store, but you were lucky if you got that, and they were probably dubbed like half in Russian, half in Thai. You had no idea what was going on. So as soon as it starts, we get Nintendo and anime and everything starts coming in, and more like Japanese movies, especially with the rise of like kung fu films and then Power Rangers. These Western creators start going, oh, there's another market. This is an actual other market, other audience that is coming in to eat our lunch. What do we do? Instead of trying to either compete on quality or learn lessons and go, yes, we totally took it from this game or that game. They just said, we're going to shut you the hell out. And that's it. Like that. So that's why you see, remember, like one of my favorite things, Nerdigans, is that I cite during this is Devil May Cry. Back when they made the reboot by, Team Ninja or Ninja Theory rather, sorry. There's a slideshow where they basically went up and the reboot was being made after Devil May Cry 3, which is like a universally beloved game with a very wacky sort of over the top, Goku if he was a Daredevil type protagonist. And when Ninja Theory was proposing the DMC reboot, they basically were like, there's a screenshot where they're like, Dante is not this, and it is a picture of like the two guys from Brokeback Mountain, and then it's like Dante is this, and it's a bunch of like Western club goers in like Marilyn Manson like black like goth club outfits, and it's like that's what they think of everything in the West to them, or everything out of the East is lame and dumb and backwards, and it's why should I take it serious? Kind of like what Cider touched on, where in anime or something, if a character cries, audiences will go like, that's emotional, he's struggling, he's fighting, he's whatever. But here in the West, if we see a character crying, 98% of the time people just go, gay, what a loser, he's so weak, this is dumb, why am I even watching that? And so that mentality is just full. Remember, at the very end of it, the reason it's so amplified is because all the people in the positions of power who level the xenophobia, who push them out, they're just bullies at their core. They are the actual bullies. They'll say, oh, I was bullied in school or whatever. But the reality of it is they were probably the bullies, right? There's, I don't know if you guys have ever watched this show, but there's a show called 30 Rock that was basically a parody of how it was to work in SNL back in like the 2000s. But there's this joke where Tina Fey talks about like, yeah, I remember my high school experience. It was really bad. Those other kids were like really mean to me. And it flashes back, and all these like popular girls are like, hey, do you want to come to us tonight? We're all going to go, you know, to the roller skate rink. And she goes, oh yeah, are you doing it to avoid your dad's drinking problem? And they all go like, whoa, okay. They like leave. And it's like, that's, you know, she thinks she was bullied, but she was actually the bigger dick. And that's where a lot of these people are coming from.
It's very, very true. It is. And yeah, and you also got them saying, and we saw this with the Coop situation, where you have these people admittedly calling Japanese people right-wing, or not right-wing adjacent, I'm sorry, white adjacent, and even colonizers too. It is just the most backwards thing I have ever seen from these people. And it's been happening over the last decade specifically.
Right. It's again, it's once you realize it's all about power and trying to force people to like you, that's when, or like force people to like whoever is making the noise, that's when everything sort of falls away and you go, none of this is about really liking or caring about video games or the industry or whatever. It's all just sort of about serving your ego. You want to be applauded for being the best. But yeah, so in this discussion of safe horny and female characters and stuff, it was brought up that, you know, there's a lot of hypocrisy, especially when it comes to things like Lady Dimitrescu and stuff. And I wanted to bring this up because it is 100% relevant and just sort of puts a stamp on it all. So just a couple days ago, or yeah, over the weekend during NYCC, DC announced right here a new webcomic based on Nightwing called I need to get the title right because otherwise Nothing But Nightwing, BUTT Nightwing. And it's about him going into like he has to infiltrate a like fashion organization, so he becomes a male model. But
of course,
all of this stuff is 100% focused on his butt. Like it's literally in the title. This cover that Cider has up right here, this is cover A, where his butt is just completely out there. Now, I don't have anything against that. If you want to have sexy Nightwing, go have sexy Nightwing. But the problem is you can't have that and then yell at me for wanting to see Power Girl's, you know, boob window. Like that just doesn't, this is hypocrisy at its finest. We can enjoy this. You can't enjoy this, even though it is the exact same thing.
Like I said, you have a bunch of people out here who just want to flip all the gender norms and then get in their view payback against the other gender for all. And this is all just what it comes down to. It's all pale. We used to live in a time period back in the day. I mentioned this last night as well. It's like, you know, men had Victoria's Secret and women had Abercrombie and Fitch, and everyone was happy. Like no one complained. It's like you all got your little thing. You can go be a perv like over there. No one had any qualms about it or whatsoever. But now it's like, oh no, your thing is bad and my thing is good, and we need to readjust society to where we shame you for your thing, but then we prop me up as a hero for my thing, and then, you know, that way I can never be labeled as a hypocrite for advocating for the exact same thing I hate against you. And this is where we're at now. So it's like there's no standard of any kind of, you know, I mean, like I said, there really just is no standard here. It's just that we want to change society so that we're on top and we can get payback on the people who we view as oppressive to us. And then everyone's gotten to a point now where it's like, yeah, no, this is stupid. We just should start pushing back on this now.
Trouble with an eye for an eye means that everybody's left blind. And that was pretty much the gist of the letter that the creators, Japanese creators, penned a while ago that predicted this situation, that, you know, you keep shaking hands, you keep being friendly, and there's going to be trouble. You know, you have, I think there's a saying, we have a saying up here anyway. It's because of the old stone walls that people used to erect between their properties. And it's
that's so cool.
A good wall makes a good neighbor. You know, knowing when we first moved into the house that I live in right now, about more than 20 years ago now, the neighbors, the first day we were here, before we were unloading the trucks, came right over and showed us where the property line was. and
like, no hellos, just right there.
Yep,
right.
It was like, this is where the property line is. It's marked by that pink flamingo, and that flamingo is there today, as sun blasted as it ever has been. And they tell you it's biodegradable. That's a lie.
That's
that
a lie.
flamingo is not. That'll be here after the cockroaches.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, that the archaeologist will find that and be like, look at the ancient markers of our culture.
Behold the gods of humanity. They created it out of indestructible material. It must have meant something to them.
You see, it clearly the shape of a flamingo bird that used to exist, but it's so washed out, you can tell they were holding it to the sun to gain its favor.
It's like that ball with all the nail heads poking out of it, that brass ball and they were just like, they were trying to figure, they thought it was like some kind of like atom arranger or like an early try to like electron arranger, the electractor. Yeah. And it's like, then some lady just picks it up and starts knitting with it. And they're like, oh, that's what it was for. It was for making hats.
I love that stuff so much. It's going to be great.
Oh, man. We're lucky to live in a time like this and not in a timeline where they had to actually go through with the Blade movie, you know that? So
oh my good. I mean, that's the thing though, is okay, maybe I don't even want them to go through with the Blade movie, but at this point, I seriously, okay. The best way to start this story and to sum up my thoughts on it is yesterday we got the news that out of nowhere the Mahershala Ali Blade reboot movie has been removed from Disney's release schedule for next year.
Trey, let me correct you there. They finally got to a point where they're willing to publicly admit that this thing is dead.
I mean, oh, pretty much. I mean, this is all but the official announcement because They removed it from the calendar. They gave its date to Predator Badlands. They didn't say, they gave no other update. All they did was remove it from the schedule. So for all intents and purposes, this movie is now in an indefinite delay. So when I went to write the story for this, my opening line was, it seriously should not be this hard to do a movie about a cool black guy killing vampires, sometimes with a katana. Then I was like, oh, I need to go get some links from a previous article. I opened up the last article I wrote about Blade, and my opening line was, it should not be this hard to write a movie about a cool guy killing vampires.
Wow.
I was just like, there you go. Like, that's all I can really say about this.
The Matrix.
It should not be this hard to do cool black guy kills vampires. Even if it was awful, even if you gave it the cheesiest Tubi level 90s movie dialogue, if it was like, what is that cider? Last Red Ranger or whatever. Even if it was like that. It would be, people would go and watch Blade. People would go and watch Blade.
They can fund that on Kickstarter.
They could do it so easy. And that's another thing. Yeah, or go ahead. Yeah.
Think about it though. Like, you remember Jefferson Twilight from the Venture Brothers?
Yeah.
If they just did 70s Blade, they don't have to do like Blade in the modern era. Just take Wesley Snipes, throw him back in the 60s, say he fell through a time portal and he's been stuck there for 30 years. That's all you got to do.
It would be the coolest thing ever. Like a big afroed Blade who's still talking jive while killing vampires. That's way
But he's from the future, so he knows he's rich. So he's predicting. He's not gonna do a Doc Brown did, be like, oh, we can't bet on things. He's gonna be like, no way, I know what all the Super Bowls go like, man. Whistler taught me some shit.
because he's a vampire, he's smart. He's like, yeah, I've existed for like 300 years. I invested like 500 doubloons in this kid named like Tony Jobson. I'm pretty sure you'll know what his kid goes on and does in a couple years. So when he gets to our time, just all of his investments have paid off, and he's just got like Fry style. He can just go pick them out of the bank and be like, I got zillions of dollars. I knew I was going to live forever. Of course, this is what we do.
But dude, I said it for months. I said the Snipes curse was real. Mm-hmm. And it is real. This proves my freaking point. And Jacob was laughing.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, what the Wesley Snipes curse is that because Marvel didn't bring back Wesley Snipes as Blade for this movie, that this production was doomed to fail.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not one of the, I actually thought when it was announced, I thought Mahershala would be a great choice. I like Snipes as that, but I'm also I'm like, he's a little old. Why not get a new talent? Mahershala is at least like a badass in Luke Cage. Like, he's cool, he's calm, he's like scary. And yeah, I guess that is the curse now, is that this just isn't popping off. I don't even know what to say about this movie anymore. We've had 4 delays, we've had 6 rewrites, we've had 3 2 directors. We've lost one. We still are like out looking for the next guy to come take it. Nobody knows what's going on. Everything that's leaked is like we're disconnecting all the setups we ever did. No more Black Knight from Eternals. No more connection to the Midnight Suns. No more this. We're just doing. It's so weird, or not weird, but pathetic.
Again, you gotta remember, we announced this movie in Comic-Con 2019, and they did not shoot in over 5 years a single scene with Ali, even in his suit. Even in like they didn't even like take a promotional picture of this film in 5 years. That's how
they didn't even hand him a pair of sunglasses and say hello. Just say hello to us.
I don't even know if they even gave him like his measurements to see if they can even like make a suit for him to wear.
You know how I know they didn't? They actually, Blade has had one appearance in the MCU, and that was at the end of Eternals in the post-credit scene. It is shot from the back of his head, and it's only his ear. Like, it's clearly a stand-in, and it's just Mahershala talking over like a microphone. This is one of those productions that we always talk about where they clearly were like, yeah, greenlight it. You love it, right? And they had no plan for it, right? The Star Trek 4, we still don't know where that piece of crap is supposed to be. And that was announced 3 years ago to get investors to give Paramount more money. It's a trend that I know like Jacob always calls out, but this is sort of the end game of it, right? We're at the point where these things just can't even materialize. They can't even be dumped onto Disney Plus because nobody did anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and like I said, now just real quick for Cider goes, the meme here that Nerd Games was referencing, I called it like when I saw it from the Deadpool movie. It's like, yeah, that Blade movie is like never coming out, and everyone was all like, oh, the references that they got a film in the works. It's like, no, you guys don't have any idea how that screwed up that production. Yeah. That's never coming out. So to me, this was their indication that that film's dead.
Mahershala, Marshall Lee, whatever you want to call him.
Whatever you want to call him.
We'll just call him martial law.
Yeah, martial law. Not a good choice for Blade, in my opinion. I don't think there is an actor other than Wesley Snipes that can do it. Similarly to how I feel about Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark.
I agree with that.
Blade is such a unique character in and of himself. You can pluck him out of the Marvel universe and absolutely nothing about him changes.
Oh yeah,
nothing about him changes. Similarly, Wesley Snipes' career, if you just plucked him out of being an actor, next to nothing about him changes. He's the same guy on camera most of the time as he is in interviews, as he is on the street, as he is in photographs, as he is in prison. And the thing is that it's a very unique pairing like we had with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. Not only does the person embody the character, but the character evolves into them. Wolverine was supposed to be very short. No one ever cared that Hugh was over 6 feet tall. No one ever. Well, you know what I mean. It didn't become.
I know what you mean.
It didn't break the character, I guess. And I can only really attribute to his desire to become Wolverine that actually was possible. This is what Snipes was able to pull off. He became Blade. Blade became him, just the same as Iron Man became Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man. Both of these roles were improved. The guy and the character were improved by that, and that's why I don't think there can be a replacement. Once you're done with this, it's over with. You do animated Blade, certainly, but I don't think live action can happen after Snipes.
Yeah, see, I think I disagree with that from a different viewpoint because, like, yes, I hear what you're saying where RDJ is that live action Tony. Yes, Snipes is that live action Blade. But I grew up, my introduction to all these guys was in the comic books. So when I saw them on the screen, they're still not who I think of when I think of the character. So to me, Mahershala was a great choice because he is that low, sort of cool, calm, collected, and scary, right? Where everything could be exploding around you. And as long as this guy's like, all right, you're like, oh, he's got something. I don't think he would ever replace, like, that's the thing. I don't think he'd ever replace Wesley Snipes, and you would never get like, oh, remember that one time Wesley Snipes was in a random Blade movie? He's always going to be that definitive one, but I don't think that precludes anybody from coming in and playing a version of that character. Just like we've gotten 90 different Supermen, even though I think George Reeves is the best one, I can still look at Cavill or Welling and go, you're doing a good job as that character. You might not be the best version of that character or my favorite, but you are still a good take on that character. Dean Cain.
I just picture you sitting in the sand, like building up some sand and like into a pile, and they're like all these Supermen are standing around, and you say, yeah, this is your Superman legacy. It's broken, but it's okay. It's okay. Like Stitch at the end of Lilo and Stitch, where he's like, your family's bullshit, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just saying, if we went with this, no actor can ever portray another character. We never would have gotten Cavill. We never would have gotten,
well, talking to the wrong guy. Okay, you're talking to the wrong guy on that one. But I get where you're coming from. I absolutely understand that there wouldn't have ever been a Dean Cain had we given up on Superman at George Reeves. I absolutely understand. But the situation that I think we're at now is that the studios can't be trusted on the other end. But it would have the only thing I would really have to say about this, right, is that presently I do not believe there is a Hollywood actor that could carry the character without it being a parody. I even think Mahershala Ali's version would still be mean.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I can agree with that take, actually. Yeah. I see exactly what you mean.
It's like Anthony Mackie playing Captain America. That character, that may have been a completely different performance had an actor with a more serious attitude been handed that, like an Alan Rickman of Black Men, been handed that role, it probably wouldn't have been memed so hard. And so
I see exactly what you're saying too, because it's also like, okay, at least this is how I took it. It's like, yeah, Mahershala might do a fine job. This isn't a commentary on him, but the way probably he and Marvel will approach the character will try too hard to be Wesley Snipes Blade that it ends up being like, like you said, Blade. A parody. Well, but a bad version, right? It's like a TJ version where you're like, I know what you're trying for. It's not working.
Wesley Snipes Blade will never seriously say some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill ever again. That was once. But you bet your bottom dollar the very first episode of Blade was intended to have that character say that as he slices a vampire in half at dawn.
Or here's a theory, Cider. Was it meant for Blade to say when he comes on screen so everybody claps? Or do you think they gave that to his daughter so that everybody goes, oh, yeah, she's just as cool?
Oh, sure, right? Like, right. And then like the post-credit scene is they're sitting there eating cup of ramen because, Blade's poor.
Awful.
And they're eating cup of ramen. He says, wait, where did you learn that? I killed everybody in the room. Where did you learn that?
And then she just shrugs and says, you want to see my flirkin? And then it takes out his eye.
Yeah, right.
Or you just post.
Why does it keep happening to black people?
Honestly, if they had any amount of like sauce to them, they would have that post-credit scene just be like Steven Dorff watching a news report about like Blade on TV and being like, this is stupid. Like, I hate that guy, or something like that. But they won't. It'll be awful. It won't be anything. This isn't happening. There's no way this happens. Nobody talks about it.
You're right. You have Ryan Reynolds is pushing very hard for a Logan-style send-off movie. And like I said earlier, the easiest way to do that is to inexplicably put Blade back in the 70s, give him 2 lines of dialogue that explain him falling through a time portal when Doctor Strange was screwing around with the multiverse. We ripped open all those holes.
You can just easily go, he escaped from the void. The void can spit you out whatever time, wherever. It doesn't matter. Boom,
sure.
There he is. He's there.
He was a void fart. And
there you go. Exactly.
And he ended up in the 70s, and you've got Wesley Snipes in bell bottoms, walking around like actual Shaft, and then he rounds a corner, and instead of it being Shaft, you're in the middle of a Buffy episode.
Like, see, that it should be so easy. It should be so easy.
It's literally that easy.
And yet 5 years of nothing. So I hit that 5
Wouldn't
years
that be
line.
great, right? They hate Joss Whedon right now, right? Because he got exposed for being a creepy weirdo. So they have Blade walk in on like some blonde that thinks she's gonna kill a vampire, and she like stabs him with a stake, but it misses his heart, and so he's got her up against the wall, and he's about to bite her. And Blade's like, "Excuse me, miss, do you mind if I cut in, or do you think you got it from here?"
Right, and then
You know.
you got to drop those cheesy one-liners, like at least,
right?
But
Exactly.
They make sense from Snipes. They wouldn't feel right coming from Ollie. I get what you're saying.
Right.
I
He just doesn't. You imagine his eyebrows going up and him having that quippy line, and it feels like a meme. But when Snipes does it, it's like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fall out of my chair laughing just thinking about it. Like you can see his face. He's got that look on his face. Like, do you need some help, ma'am? You know.
So no, 100%. So I mentioned the 5, or Jacob mentioned, like, it's been 5 years, I haven't done anything on it. And that reminded me of something that's tangentially related. It's sort of it's related, but it's a different medium, but I'll let you, you'll see what I mean. So 5 years of production time and nothing has come out of this movie. I was looking up for an article by one of our writers, Nikolaj. He was writing about the God of War. There's a rumor that the God of War collection is coming for PS5. And so I went to fact check, or like I was reading Nikolaj's article, and he was like, this game came out, like the original PS1 God of War came out 2005, and he's doing all the dates. And I went, no way. And so I went to Wikipedia, I looked it up. The entire original God of War, like 5 games. So like the main trilogy, the PSP game, and then the like remake of the first one for PS3. All 5 of those games, 5 years total time to get all of those. Like we have, and my point to this is like production in entertainment everywhere is beyond broken. It should not take like that's 5 years for 5 super solid games. 5 years we haven't gotten one picture of Blade. 5
games
years
that introduce new
development time.
new mechanics, by the way. The rage meter was a new mechanic, so that required new engine. But the other thing I want to point out about this, right, is that we know why this has happened now, is that it's the sensitivity readings. Everything has to go through a happy-go-lucky bubble before it's allowed to proceed. And once everybody's hugged each other and patted each other on the back for doing this super-duper good job, pet some puppies, had some juice boxes, then they can go back to work making the game. But that takes about a week, because there's a lot of people to hug, there's a lot of juice boxes to have, and you just can't catch a puppy. They're just so squirmy, wiggly, get away. It's
such a setback for a studio.
And that's just, it's really hard in the modern American workplace because you've got to catch puppies all the time before you can make video games. And it's just, insurance. It's what it is.
No, you're completely right. It's every level of every production. You have to go, does this fly by our, I mean, and obviously not like the actual like code or whatever.
Is this overweight Mexican in a Michelin jacket good for us to attach to our multi-$100 million video game?
And that's got to go through all of your consultants, all of your leaders, and because all of these companies are giant now, that takes, like Cider said, a week. I'd say that's optimistic. Maybe
right. You're right.
Get that, and back in the day, you used to be able to go, okay, there's 150 of us. Well, I'm just going to walk down the hall. And if Cider's available right now, I know he's president and he's busy, but if he's available, I'll be like, hey, can I run something by you? Nowadays, everything's so corporate and you got to, set up the meeting and get the, whatever. Everybody who's worked in corporate knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's all that now. So that doesn't foster creativity at all. That's how you end up with Kylie Jenner Pepsi ads.
Well, and again, I mean, like we're kind of like looking at that, right? So we got Ironheart coming out. We have I'm just going to tell you right now, this horribly ill-fated Captain America Brave New reshoots. That is just dead on arrival.
Okay, finish your point, Snyder. Then I have something to ask you.
But I just wanted to say that right now, of all things that they should not be throwing the towel in on, is a Blade series or a Blade movie or something involving Wesley Snipes while he's still on 2 feet to do it. They should absolutely be jumping at this as hard as James Gunn jumped at Superman.
That's actually a really good point. And I don't want to be like, obviously I don't want to be like, oh, he can do it, it's all safe, but like I feel like only Ryan Reynolds right now, he's got the keys to this. Like he's the only disrupting force that like Marvel and Disney might listen to at this point.
Well,
so if he's behind
they said they're doing another Deadpool, so
oh, they did? Well,
they're gonna do a follow-up to Deadpool and Wolverine, so
saw that coming. But Cider, with your mention of Captain America Brave New World, has anybody here seen the leaks for this thing? Because these leaks, okay,
there are new ones.
There's full plot there from like the latest screening, and
the one that people were walking out of. Yeah.
Maybe here's why I say maybe. I can't remember because this movie's gone through like 6 test screening rounds, and I feel like every time we hear about it, somebody is walking out. Every time, it's always just a bad reception to this movie. So, I don't know if we want to, like, I won't sit here and read all of the spoilers, essentially. I sent them over to you, Cider, just so you can look at them and everybody on panel can. But essentially, yeah, so there was I'll give a brief rundown so that you guys can see sort of just how bad it is. So if more to that point, if you are really interested in going into Captain America Brave New World blind, you have 5 seconds, 10 seconds to mute me and then come back maybe in like 3. You never know. There might be one person who just started watching us. You never know. We need to open his eyes, but instead of just busting them open. So yeah, you have like a couple seconds to mute me and then come back in like 3 minutes. But so yeah, like Cider said, these leaks come from the most recent test screening, which is about 3 weeks ago, a month now. They're probably still ongoing, but this is when they dropped. It's bad. So essentially, it's all a disconnected sort of like set up to everything where basically we get do you guys remember Isaiah Bradley? He was the original Captain America. He showed up in Captain America Brave New World. He like, I guess Sam is getting like honored at the White House, and he decides like, oh, I'm going to bring Isaiah as like my guest. And so he brings Isaiah, and during the event, the president, Harrison Ford, somebody activates like weird mind control by like through your phone, and Isaiah stands up and tries to kill him. And there's a couple more action sequences where more security guards in the White House do the same thing. And it turns out, wow, it's because of the leader, Tim Blake. He's back. This is a big note. He apparently looks like shit. Like all of the reports are like that makeup job that they did for him is bad. For those of you who don't know, the leader in the comics is supposed to be sort of comical, where he's got a big giant, he's green like the Hulk because he was in the same sort of gamma exposure, and he's got big old brain, like disgusting, scary villain brain. Apparently, all they did in this movie was give him this weird brain-looking skull cap, like a swim cap, and it's barely like green at the top. Like it looks like the green is an infection starting, but it's mostly skin color. So he just looks completely stupid. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So this really what the plot of this movie is that America has somehow, or the Serpent Society starts out the movie and they're supposed to be like buying a package of adamantium because look, remember the X-Men? We're finally here. And then Sam interrupts it, and the whole movie becomes this battle over like, we got to get the adamantium package. Let's go over here. Let's go.
I'm sorry.
Like, yeah,
I have to interject here for a second. We spent $71 billion in 7 years just so that we can buy the rights to say adamantium in a movie.
Yes, this is your big
nailed it.
Back to the point about why is it taking so long for everything? When did that deal close, Jacob? When was this? I like 2015, 16, the Fox one?
The Fox deal, I think 2017 is when it officially closed.
2017, 7 years ago. And at best in the MCU, you got Professor X cameo in Multiverse of Madness. You got the Miss Marvel audio tease. You get adamantium in Brave New World. And then you get Beast at the end of the Marvels. Like, what are you guys even and then I guess Deadpool and Wolverine, but more aside from that, like, what are you guys actually doing over there? It's so, there's no roadmap. It's all, running it through. Oh, do you think if we launch a Cyclops show now it'll work? Well, my report says, there's a 30% chance it won't work. And I got a report from the diversity consultants that said, white men with brown hair are not the preferred, protagonist. Just shit like that keeps it from ever happening. But so that is sort of the big conflict of the movie, is that Giancarlo, he wants the adamantium. Sam needs to stop him. Eventually, this is where the movie gets extremely, extremely stupid. At the end of the movie, it turns out that that the tease we've seen of Red Hulk versus Captain America, that happens because Red Hulk gets mind control. Like he gets tricked by the same thing that gets everybody else, and that causes them to fight, and they just start fighting for like no reason.
Are you sure it's mind control, or did they take his lollipops away?
I mean, they might have taken his lollipops away. Apparently, in the movie, the lollipops are how he gets his like gamma medicine. Like that's how he
freak out medicine. Yeah, he gets.
It's how he controls his type 3 diabetes.
Look, okay, it's obviously a joke for those weed lollipops.
Yeah.
Lollipops, pots, as they're known, lollipop. And
I don't even know if it's that deep. I almost feel like it's just one of those like Reddit level, like, haha, serious guy eat lollipop. Isn't that so funny? And it's like,
what's going to be hilarious when like Harrison Ford can talk about this. He's like, no, I just wanted that in my contract. I literally named a number. I literally named a number I couldn't say out loud. I couldn't pronounce. And they were like, sure, we'll pay you that double. And I was like, I have to be able to have lollipops whenever I want them, whenever we're recording. They're like, sure, whatever. He's like, damn it.
I just want to crawl in a cave and die.
Like, okay, we'll put that in your contract, sir. It's right here.
Yeah, seriously.
Disney won't let me die.
Get me out of here, please.
And that's the funniest thing about this is that Ford is to the point now. He said, he was talking in an interview, like, if you think you're above doing these movies, I got bad news for you. And so I think that's kind of like where he's at now, is that he just literally hit them with the craziest stipulations he could think of that wouldn't interfere with the production of the movie, but really annoy somebody, because he's that kind of old man where he just like, what could I do to piss off all these people that won't slow the movie down?
It's Harrison Ford. I also like I believe you, but I also wouldn't put it past him to like not even try to think about like how can I annoy them and it won't delay the movie? I feel like that would be the goal. Like, how can I delay them so that I can sit in my trailer for like 6 more weeks while they, get a new costume or something? I feel like that's what
he's doing a lollipop thing, and it's like mid scene. He's like,
yeah,
Tootsie Roll. I made it. 36. Write that down. And then they go, cut. Damn it.
Damn it. We got to wrap for today. The sunlight's done.
We only have Chris Hemsworth for his back of the head shot for another 10 days, Harrison. Come on.
Okay, so funny enough that you bring that up. So
of course.
So long story short, that Hulk Sam fight is the final fight of the movie. It's Giancarlo getting the thing to go off, and that's how the movie end, or like that's the final fight. Sam ends up getting him like in the side, and the shock like takes him out of his Hulk form, whatever. Here's where everything gets insanely stupid according to these leaks. Again, we're going by the leaks. There is before the fight starts, they meet on the steps of the White House, and according to the leaker, the imagery there is very evocative of, what do you guys think, a certain January-based event that happened 3 years ago? If, in case you like didn't think there was going to be some very pointed commentary in this movie. From there, he beats Sam, or Sam beats the Hulk. They go and they put the Hulk in the hospital, and they lock him up in the raft. And there's apparently an exchange of dialogue here where Sam goes up to Ross and is like, so how does it feel to be locked up? And Ross says like, well, at least I'm safe now. And like, I can't Hulk out. And Sam says something essentially, thank you for taking accountability for your own actions and turning yourself in voluntarily. Like very pointed, like, Mr. President, thank you for like very, you should have done, like, we all know, like, it's clearly a dig at Trump. Like, it's clearly that. It's super, super sad. Mm-hmm. In the hospital, we get Bucky. He shows up. He comes to check in on Sam, and then he leaves. Like he comes in and says, "How you doing?" And then he leaves. That's it. Like he doesn't.
Interconnected universe, everybody. Yeah.
That's all it is. And then
I want to throw this out here just for reference to people listening to this. This is a film that's production budget has now ballooned to nearly $400 million. Production alone.
And that's all we know. At this point, there's got to be
They've
more.
basically reshot this movie twice.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. All right. Kevin Feige heard that the helmsman there, the fellow over at Sony, was spending $400,000 on a video game about a trans woman that throws knives. All right.
Yeah.
And then he was like, all right, hold my beer. And they went to work on Captain America Brave New World. He's like, we can't be outdone by a knife-throwing trans, all right? Get me Sabra. But we're not going to let her be Sabra. We're going to make her a 5'4" angry little dwarf woman that runs around cursing at people the whole movie. And we're totally going to deny that means anything. We won't
even make her a Black Widow. We won't even make her a Black
Widow. It won't even be the Black Sabra.
to me, I imagine they got like the writer's room for Cap got assembled and they just like snorted a bunch of fun powder and they went, this is our moment to tell the world about January 6th. We need to make this perfect. And they're like meticulous about it. And that's why they're doing all these rewrites because something new happens and we got to comment on that. And how do we make this pay off? Because at the very end of this entire summary, I'm not going to read it all, but the leaker is like nothing in this movie connects. There's no reason for Isaiah to be here. There's no ending for the request to have Sam lead the Avengers. Sam and the new Falcon don't even really do anything. The leader is just there. Ruth is just there. Like that's what the reviewers like. This movie feels completely disconnected from everything that happens in it.
Another Rise of Skywalker. Because it's 5 different movies smashed together with no through thread to make that make any sense.
There you go. That's exactly what it was. But yeah, to like Jacob's point,
final fight is in a trailer. Oh my god!
Final fight's in a trailer, and according to the leak, it only lasts for about like 3 to 5 minutes.
Well, here's the other thing. Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum. He doesn't have an Iron Man suit. He's just a dude that's good at running. Okay, that's it.
And that's well, that's right, Nerdigans. Like that's what the leaker also brings up. He's like a lot of people in the post, like when we were talking in the lobby, they didn't understand. Yeah, Sam has the shield, but yeah, that absorbs like the kinetic energy, but there's still like the force, the crushing force. It doesn't stop. So like there's no way he should have been able to beat the Hulk. But
the vibranium shield isn't a kinetic repulsor. All right. It doesn't absorb kinetic energy. Not even. Yeah, that had a kinetic. That wasn't even absorbed. That was kinetic redistribution. He could store kinetic energy up and then reuse it at will. So he had to disperse it eventually. That was how Killmonger got him into trouble in the Wii U cutscene there. The QuickTime event in the movie.
Wii U cutscene.
My favorite part of that movie is when the QuickTime event starts and you have to press X so T'Challa can win the movie. And
that
was so dumb.
That to me, there's that fight, and then it's also the that's what the car fight felt like to me. The car chase in Korea or whatever. It looked cool, but I'm like, push A. Jump.
Yep. That was straight.
Push left button. Like I see a truck coming. Push the left bumper.
That is peak heavy rain. That is peak heavy rain. Just so it's like David Cage had to have been a consultant on that movie.
Okay. You brought that up, Cider, and now I want Black Panther 3 to be like CGI T'Challa or like recast T'Challa just running around like looking. Where's my son? Where is my son? Where is my Black Panther son? Where is my son? Like Sean.
Black Panther become Wakanda.
They're already doing that like animated prequel stupid series. Like World of Wakanda or something.
Eyes of Wakanda,
like
yeah, where they're the CIA of Wakanda. So you actually see them going out and fucking with other countries, which is what T'Challa said that they never do, which is why they built the shield around themselves. But that's the whole point of the eyes.
It's what we were bringing. You and I brought up last week, where it was like, does T'Challa just like not care about the farmer who's right there? And it's like, no, of course not. Like,
what do those farmers think, by the way? Like, you're just out there milking your cow, and like a UFO flies into a tree,
or like. Your goat tries to go forward and it just hits like air, and you're like, how can it not? Yeah, exactly. Like, what's happening? There's no way this place stays secret. Like, it's
like
happen.
The funniest thing that ever happened is when I realized what the Gorilla City was in DC.
Wakanda, but with actual gorillas.
But with actual gorillas, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's terrible!" Grodd is the Killmonger.
DC, shame on you, DC. We see you.
I was like, "This seems awfully familiar." When they flew through the force
they even
field.
gave him like an aggressively strong Ethiopian accent just to really sell it as well.
And it's the Gorilla City in DC, and I was like, no,
shame on
guys.
you, shame on you guys.
And again, I don't know what came first. You know, Stan Lee may have been flipping through and saw the Gorilla City in DC and been like, hold on a minute.
Cider, I was literally going to say, like, hold on, buddy, which one is worse? Because either way, it's pretty bad.
Right? You know? But, you know, well, hold on. It was between four Jews, okay? So it's not that bad, all right? It was between four Jews. So
yeah, so somewhere in the 1960s, Stan Lee got high and watched a movie about monkeys taking over the world. Thought to himself, "I got an idea."
Oh God!
What if that wasn't a bad thing?
No.
We'll give him a motorcycle and a cape, and we won't mention bananas. They'll never put it together.
And we'll put him. Well, then he covered his bases. He's like, okay, black character, put him in the whitest book possible. Fantastic Four.
What about instead of killing themselves for diamonds, they killed themselves over vibranium?
Oh my God, Jack Kirby smoking a cigar. And he's like, where does the most wealthiest, talented, intelligent black man on earth go for help? A white man.
Jacob, I didn't even realize that parallel. Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
Jacob, the like vibranium is diamonds. I didn't even think about that. That's bad, dude. Whoa. And they haven't noticed that? Dang.
Yeah.
I wish that Reed would be like in the midst of like slapping Sue across the face, and it's like maximum 1960s white guy, right? And he turns around and he says, "Aha! The N-word! I see you finally come around to my side."
and then we're gonna give the king of this African nation. He's gonna give him an illegitimate son that he doesn't take care of.
That's how they left off his character. Like that's so. This is the what's that term? Like racism of low expectations.
Even T'Challa has a baby mama in this universe.
What is Wakandan child support like, huh? How about that one, right?
Wakandan child support? Oh, God.
But, so before we get totally canceled, well, you know, I don't know. I'll get canceled.
Just abruptly pull the plug on the stream.
What are you talking about? It's already done. This is already in the record books. We're fine. We might as well go all out.
Well, we have a super chat. Someone was kind enough to help us. We have, for Australian dollars, $7.99, Angelus, saying, you're telling Long Me it now costs more than Avatar 2 for a film that has substantially a shorter runtime. This movie is DOA big time.
Like I said, they've reshot this movie twice. So because they've had to reshoot it twice, the production budget has blown up to nearly $400 million. It's like $385 million at the moment, but it could go even higher.
And that's not even including marketing either. They better be selling a lot of popcorn.
Which
means at this point, Stanley.
Oh no! Oh no!
He did it! He saw Gorilla City and he said, "I got an idea, boys."
No!
It's a second week in a row where we've all had the Walter White.
The Heisenberg.
Last week was Leslie. Now it's Stan Lee. No!
You're like under the floorboards. No, where did it go? Where did all the purity go?
No,
That's hilarious. So now not only did he decide that a bunch of gorillas could, be represented a little differently, he also decided that this man that was so powerful, so intelligent, so wealthy needed a white man's help, and the whitest of white men, by the way,
the
Reed
whitest of white
Richards.
men. Yeah. But yeah, to Nerdigan's point, so if we take even like the standard budget equation, which is like double a movie's production budget for its marketing budget, that means $800,000 at the best for this movie, like that they need to recoup just to even think about making a profit. It's not going to. It's like you said, it's less than.
If we're talking, I remember like the second Black Panther movie needed like roughly like about $1 billion to break even. Like we reported that like a while ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're talking about this being even more than that, you're talking about
And
a
that's
movie
in
that
that time money.
Yeah, right.
That's when that would actually sell. Like
back when his money was worth far more than it is now. But yeah, you probably would need somewhere between like 1.1 to 1.2 billion just to break even at this point.
Yeah.
On a character that, keep in mind, this is the elephant in the room, no one actually likes and no one actually wanted. This is not a popular character. This is one of the characters that they brought to life in the recent, hey, let's do an all new, all woke adventures team and all this old nonsense. Oh, by the way, they're also introducing Asian Hulk in this movie as well.
There are 3 cameos in this movie, guys. It's Bucky. It is a very last minute shot of Liv Tyler because she was in the very first Incredible Hulk with Norton as Betty. Mm-hmm. And then, halfway through the movie, Amadeus Cho shows up and they just like talk to him and he's like, bye. So there's your Asian Hulk. He's in now. So there's still like, he'll probably show up in Ironheart. He'll probably show up in Ms. Marvel season 2.
And then he'll never be seen again.
Never be seen again. But so this movie's been, when Jacob says this movie's been reshot, it's not just like a few scenes here or there that they needed to redo. This is like full movie. One of the facts that I know he and I always like bringing up is this was supposed to be, the Serpent Society in this movie was supposed to be led by Seth Rollins. Like at the very beginning, it was a huge, big thing for like the wrestling community, or not big thing, but it was news within the wrestling community. And he shot all of his scenes. We got leaked like set photos. Two rewrites later, he's gone. His character is not there. The team is in like one scene, and like that. So like that's a big thing that happened. We know that they've changed around his costume like 4 times. Like what?
All you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
All you had to do was follow the damn train, and now we're just like blowing this up.
Follow the damn train.
All you had to do was follow the comics. I remember like when Endgame broke and everybody walked away from that last minute or that last moment going, why didn't Bucky get the shield? Even the hardcore MCU stands, they were like, why? That was the one that made sense. Everybody wanted that.
And like Kenan Thompson said that one skit in SNL, you know why.
Yeah, exactly. You know why. What's up, Nerdigans?
I was going to say, that's what everyone wanted. Even like normies looking outside of the MCU within are just like, this does not make sense. It just feels like virtue signaling.
Exactly. The only people that this works for, like the switch to Captain America, like to Sam Cap didn't confuse, are the people who are terminally online and drink this Kool-Aid anyway. I guarantee everybody else is going, but Bucky made sense, right? Like, so what are we doing here? This is odd. This movie, like, it's cooked. There's no way this movie's making money. Nobody's hyped for this movie. It's also like, remember guys, they've already blown through their marketing campaigns, like their tie-in McDonald's thing, their billboards, all that has already gone out because this movie got pushed back again. So they're going into this completely blind. And also they're going into this, they're releasing, or when I say they're going into this, like they're releasing this movie without sort of any support from like TV ads, whatever, but also they're releasing this on Valentine's Day. Now, yes, of course, some people will go see it, but this is not the movie you go, oh, the romantic holiday where people are going to try to impress each other and all that. You take them to Captain America. She should divorce you right there. She should, if you're not married, she should marry you on the spot. Make sure you don't sign a prenup and divorce you the 30 minutes later if you take her to Captain America.
In the mood do you think your lady's going to be after watching Harrison Ford suck on lollipops for 2 hours?
Well, okay, that's a different movie, and now we can talk about actual box office success. But no, that you're right, Cider. Like,
comparatively, yes, you're right. Him sitting in a black and like a just completely black void on like a stool with just a bag of them, and there's some guy in the corner with a violin. That's it.
I was gonna say, like, don't even make it erotic. Like, no zoom in on his face, just a wide shot of him on that chair, just like
solid, doesn't move, unflinching, and he's just doing that, and that's it. There's a guy in the corner playing the violin, and that's it. There's no out. That's it.
But Spencer, going back to your point about marketing real quick, it's kind of interesting because you watch toy hunting videos, so you know this. But there's Red Hulk figure is out right now, and also there's Bucky's Captain America that's out right now in Marvel Legends. Yeah, they've been from what I've been seeing in the East Coast videos, it's been showing up at Ollie's in particular. They've been showing up. So it's like it's very interesting that that's happening right now. And you have, I think, if I remember correctly, Falcon's Marvel Legends figure came out a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and was it part of a Build-A-Figure set? I can't remember.
It is part of like the what's his name? Arnim Zola, like the Nazi guy, like the big machine dude. That was his set.
So you don't have that anymore, but yet you have Red Hulk. Red Hulk's not part of a Build-A-Figure. It's a separate
he's his own thing.
Yeah, and same with the Bucky Captain America. That's a separate thing too. So it's like, yeah, you kind of shot yourself in the foot, Marvel.
Right.
With that too.
Like even if they're not, because you're saying like they're separate things. Which
they're separate
things. They're not movie related. But the problem is, outside of like the actual collector, the casual parent going, oh, I need to go grab a Captain America toy for my kid. They're not sitting there going, which legends do I get? They're going to go, oh, look, there's Red Hulk. So they grab that. There's a sale. But then they go and look, and that's not the Captain America. What the hell is that? That's cooler, or what? Like, I bet you, or whatever. And so it just, Nordigans, it torpedoes, it fumbles. It leaves everything in this sort of void where nobody really knows how to process or react to.
You know what happens?
Like not wanting this.
They pick up the Sam Cap, and they go, well, Captain America looks a little different now, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They go, that was the kids.
It's a little different.
Well, at least Bucky Captain America still looks like Captain America, whereas like Sam Captain America doesn't look like Captain America.
None of the suits they gave him for this movie look like that. Or even in the comics, it all looks bad.
That white one is the best one on Mackie. He actually can wear that white one. And I appreciate it. Maybe not the whole neck. They could have just kept it a headpiece that has the white wrap around. That would have been all right.
That weird.
The neck's a bit much. But that dark blue one looks awful, and that is absolutely an attempt to try and draw in the Winter Soldier crowd, to try and give him a like, I'm not so cool with America right now vibe.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was pure thinking like, do you remember Chris Evans? That he's like Chris Evans' Cap. Remember, he wore dark clothes.
I didn't realize it until I saw the trailer, and he was in the office of the president, and he was just kind of like funky, he was just like not happy. You'd think like, even Chris Evans, Captain America, is like on point as he would at least be like walking around and like making a quip about, oh yeah, I know that guy, and he's pointing to a bust of a president. He's like, oh, I knew that guy. He's not as tall as he says he is in the history book. And that kind of thing, right?
You can't have funny black guy because then funny black guy is stereotype. How dare you? Why don't we just
but we'll make him fast black guy. We'll make him
can't have these cracker
ass
jive turkeys over here.
Well, also, before I forget, Spencer, you saw the Marvel Magic the Gathering cards that came out during New York City Comic Con, right? Yeah, so that for the Captain America cards, it wasn't Sam that was there. No, it was
Steve.
Yeah, it was Steve. So it's like, you lost that opportunity too with that Marvel to promote your movie, but then you would have had people pissed.
Well, so that's what it is, Nerdigans. Like you're hitting on something here, which is like deep down, as much as they keep trying to force this on us, all your race swap characters, your gender swaps, your sexuality swaps, all of that, they know that touching the actual core character that everybody know is absolute brand suicide. That's why Cider brought this up a while ago, and it's always been stuck in my mind since. But like when they say, here's Black Batman, are you getting Bruce Wayne? Are you getting even Dick Grayson? No, you're getting John Fox. You're getting somebody else. Here's gay Superman. Is it Clark? No, you're getting his aged up kid who we just randomly introduced. And so that way, like Cider pointed out, they can have their virtue signal over here and then go, okay, but we can still sell this over to the hardcore fans or whatever, or the casual ones who don't really buy into all this stuff. And that's what you're seeing is sort of the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, because nobody's going to stop buying those Cap ones. You put out regular Steve, like the exact same merch, right? Like a figure, and it's Steve and it's Sam. The Steve one's going to sell bazillions of dollars until the end of time, no matter how popular Sam gets, because that's the character. So why don't companies want to, benefit by bringing back and actually enjoying these characters that we all love? Why do they keep trying to force these ones? Obviously there's the whole social programming element of it, but it's also they're just really bad at business.
But what's very interesting, I saw, because they have the Iron Man decks too, and going back to what Cider was saying about Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man, the Iron Man in the deck looked a lot like Robert Downey Jr. It's very interesting, but I know it's because the comics, after Robert Downey Jr.'s debut as Iron Man, they started to make him look like Robert Downey Jr. So it kind of shows you how impactful he was as the character.
I don't think there's any doubt that Robert Downey Jr. was impactful as a character. I'm sure, like, there's no denying that. My point back to that convo was just I personally am up to seeing anybody else try. But like, no, of course they defined those characters to like the public consciousness.
I don't remember Tony not looking like Robert Downey Jr. though. I mean, Tony's always had a black goatee and black hair.
But before the MCU, Tony was much more of the pencil thin like mustache.
Oh, Walt Disney mustache. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then the
then they gave him the goatee.
But like the 70s normal sort of like stock. Okay, this is the only example I can think of because I'm thinking of the Wheaties box, but like the hair Bruce Jenner used to have, where it was like really short but like a little poofy, like very smally poofy, like
male perm.
Yeah, a little bit of a male perm. So that's kind of what Tony used to look like. And then once RDJ came, they gave him like the goatee, and then they started giving him not the faux hawk, but like sort of like what I have with like the hair that whips to the side. And he definitely looks a lot more like RDJ now. He used to look like Tom Cruise. Now he looks like RDJ.
Oh, okay. Well, remember that would explain why they were going to cast Tom Cruise. That makes sense now why they were going to cast Tom Cruise. All right. So those Marvel people are clever, aren't
they? At one time, Cider. At one time.
But now it's moved on to DC, because you've seen the casting that James Gunn has done for a lot of these characters.
Yep.
Like for Supergirl, she looks great. Then you got like now seeing Superman.
I don't think Millie Alcock is a good.
You don't think so?
Nothing to her. There's something weird about her face to me. Like she very like it's British face, I guess. I don't know. She doesn't look like.
Oh yeah, that is 100. She looks like Billy, the one that had Rose Tyler. She looks like Rose Tyler.
Oh yeah, Billy Piper.
Yeah, she looks like Billy Piper's little sister.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say she looks like Bella Ramsey, which I literally saw.
No, I'm not blind.
Well, then there's the Lanterns, though. The Green Lanterns casting is coming along nicely.
That
was perfect. Yeah, Kyle Chandler is a way better choice for Hal than Josh Brolin ever would have been.
This is the girl that they're talking about, the British girl that's playing Supergirl. It's just. You're right. There's no way a Cockney accent doesn't come out of that face.
Right, that's what I mean. Like it's
everything about that face is like, "Hello, governor." That's exactly what comes out of that face.
See, I don't know. I look at that and I'm like, I can't see Supergirl again. She could wow me, but
maybe she'll be British, right? Hold on, Jor-El was British. Okay, maybe. But
Jor-El didn't speak British, so he was a British guy playing an alien. If they give my American iconography to isn't Corn Sweat British? Or is he? I feel like he's something. I need to know how properly anti-British I need to get right now. Okay, never mind. He's American.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the other way around.
Woo! So
Cable was the Brit.
That's right. Yeah. But Do not give my Supergirl iconography to the British. They don't deserve it. I don't think so. All right, we left them for a reason.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, but there you go. So that's what you're dealing with. They had to go all the way to England to find a blonde-haired girl with blue eyes. So,
and I think what makes me least excited about that is they're basing it off of a Tom King run, and
Oh,
Tom King is just the absolute
no.
worst writer that DC's had.
that's right.
Ever.
That
So-
I am
Why
Supergirl,
Tom
hear me
King?
roar one. Yeah.
Because
But she
Tom
gets a
King-
sword.
She gets a, which is cool, but then she goes on to it's a whole like.
Well, just
whoa.
ask yourself, how pointless is that?
It's like the iconography, like the image of Supergirl with a sword. Cool. How does that work in a story? Why does she?
Dumb.
That's not a thing.
Big
Yeah,
dumb.
it's completely dumb. But Nerdigans, they use Tom King because we still exist, and we've been bringing this up actually like for the last 4 shows. But in the West, there's still this idea that all of comic books, manga, anime, video games, what have you, that's all for kids. It's all immature. It's all childish. If you enjoy that stuff, there's something weird about you. So if we're going to adapt something and try to get it to this big audience, we got to get the really important, like, what do you call it? Like the elevated storytelling. And that's what they think Tom King does, because Tom King has people die and has people cry and has pages where they talk about going to therapy. They go, oh, this is so deep.
And then he looks in the mirror and lies.
Oh, it's so bad. Like I want him gone, but unfortunately, we're gonna have to at least get through like the first slate of DC because he's one of the architects. So,
Yeah.
But then there's the Aztec Batman that came out of
okay, but that's a different thing. That's
that's
not
a different
not a
thing.
casting.
But yeah, but that's a different thing. But in terms of like, I'm just saying in general, with what DC's doing compared to Marvel, let me get back to that. What DC's doing compared to Marvel is kind of like a night and day kind of thing, don't you think? Where DC's starting to diversify a little bit more compared to Marvel.
I don't know, and here's the problem. Is we have a bunch of actual Marvel productions that we can see throughout the years where they've gone. This new DC slate, yes, I can give them credit. Like, you've done some really good casting. There's some interesting, project picks, but I don't know anything about them yet. I don't know. Yes. Oh, I love that shot of Superman landing in front of the Hall of Justice and all the kids run out to, hug him. Are they going to do something where later on in the movie, Superman has a panic attack and has to let Solaris destroy a building because he wasn't paying attention? Like, there's a lot of potential for DC, I think, but I feel like we've all been so burned before that I don't want to just throw, for like
he doesn't want to give his heart to DC anymore.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
So he can break it again.
Like, here's an example.
Here's
an example, Nerdigans, right? Let's say, for the sake of argument, all of the things that are in development right now turn out great, right? Like, oh, Superman was awesome. Creature Commandos was awesome. Green Lanterns was fantastic. Booster Gold is amazing. For sake of argument, that's great. But then, what's to stop them next round of phase 2 of going Flash movie? And by the way, we're doing the Black Kid Flash this time, and also Superman sequel, but it's on John Kent this time instead of Clark. Or we're rebooting Wonder Woman, but we're doing Nubia instead. Like, there's still that potential for them to go off the rails, and I don't think we're out of, like, I've said this before on various streams. I do think we're in a period where more people are aware and rejecting that kind of nonsense, the virtue signaling, all that, but we're nowhere close to it being over. So, like, we have to remain vigilant is probably the best way I would put it. But but Jacob is probably he simplified it. I don't want to get my heart broken, man.
But we are headed into the midnight hour here on the East Coast.
Look at that. Yes. This is a really good stopping point for our show. You had your 1 hour of Tokyo Happy Hour. You had your 2.5 of 01. So this is probably the best place to wrap it up. Before we get out of here, does anybody else have any quick notes that they want to drop about any other story that we've got on our minds?
Don't lick doorknobs.
Well, there are the Pokemon leaks.
That's like a 900 different.
Yeah,
that could be like a 9-hour stream on its own.
That could be. Yeah, that really could be.
Where you should talk about that, Nerdigans, is well, first of all, maybe you should let us know where we can find you, because I do know that you'll also be talking about Pokemon very, very soon, and it might be a great place to bring that up.
Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I talk about anime and manga every day. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirl, I'm doing my anime live reactions. I'm covering Dragon Ball Daima and Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, which has been so much fun to cover. Bleach, this week for Bleach, it's been confirmed we're getting at least 12 minutes of original content.
That's like half the episode. Dang.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, last week I think it was like 10 minutes of original content or something like that.
At this point, you're just getting a full new series.
well, yeah. Something that was said was Core 3 and Core 4, the final cores are going to have are going to be original content heavy, because this is at the point of the series.
Where it dropped off in the original.
Yeah, where Kubo his health was starting to get really bad, and there was a lot of
and he had to like rush it and everything.
Yeah, and
I remember now. That makes sense.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of original content. I'm not happy that some of the content was skipped, and in the past couple episodes there was a little. Well, second episode was very disjointed writing wise, but this week it wasn't. It wasn't that bad. This past week it wasn't that bad, But anyways, Dragon Ball Daima, though, is very, very interesting, especially since I said it last week. I'm going to say it again, that a lot of the content from Daima is probably going to be coming up again in Dragon Ball Super manga when Toyotaro comes back. So I really, really suggest you watch it. And the lore that's in Daima is very, very interesting, especially in regards to Piccolo, because it turns out King Piccolo was right. He was a demon king all along. And you get to see little baby Popo with his horns, which was adorable. But yeah, anyways, also you can follow me on Twitter right here. I am posting various Pokemon leaks. I have been going through all the 4chan threads, and there's like 76 of them right now, I think it's like at thread 76. Yeah, it's like at 76 or 77. As of right now, I'm hoping that the leaker didn't. No, it's 77. Excuse me, 77. I'm hoping the leaks are still going, because the leaker, as of right now, has not posted any new leaks in like 24 hours. They said. So it might.
You got enough to sift through as it is now. You can take a break, or he can take a break. You can while you deal with all that.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And then I'm posting like other various content there. And then, as we talked about earlier, my Blue Lock article is up. I will be like continuing to look through Twitter and through other sources to see if I can find any more insane anime news to cover for Bounding as well. So make sure you guys are staying tuned.
All right. Jacob, where do they find you out there?
Yeah, I mean, God, you just let
Nerdigans didn't want to talk about where she might talk about Pokemon.
Yeah,
you know where she might show up.
Yeah, you let Nerdigans talk you longer, and it would have been, Thursday. But so we got a couple shows coming up that are going to be pretty big.
No.
So Friday we're gonna be doing a special episode of Retro Wave at 7 p.m. on Friday, and Nerdigans is gonna be joining me. We're gonna be talking about Pokemon manga. So we're gonna be actually doing a series over the next several weeks about Pokemon manga. We're gonna focus on the very first arc, which is Red, Green, and Blue. So we'll be talking about that one on Friday night. Get into a good long discussion about that. On Sunday for the Bible Lens podcast, I'm gonna be joined by Spencer and Shagsworth, and we're going to be talking about biblical prophecy. So we're going to deep dive into some biblical prophecy that has already been fulfilled and yet to be fulfilled. So that'll be an interesting show for Sunday. Go check out last night's episode of The Barroom. We tried a new platform. It didn't go completely
what
smoothly.
Was that, by the way, yeah, what platform was that?
It was like yeah, exactly. It was Emacs or whatever it is, the one that those guys use. Yeah, it didn't go great. It was kind of a shit show, but we tried something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll fix that up and make sure that doesn't happen again next time around. So yeah, that's everything I got coming up. I got a whole bunch of movie reviews coming up this weekend, so you'll be seeing movie reviews on the site. You'll be seeing them on the YouTubes as well. So yeah, I'll be in a lot of places. We got some good content coming out here in the next couple days.
All right, man. Spencer, where did they find you out on YouTube?
Yeah, as always, guys, I want to thank everyone for stopping by and hanging out with us. It is Wednesdays are always great because of you guys. You allow us to come here and hang out with you and talk. So without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So I thank you from the bottom of at least my heart, and I'm sure everybody else's heart here. Definitely go check out Nerdigans. It sounded a little rude because I was trying to get her to promote her appearance on Jacob's show, but he is covering the hell out of the Pokemon League. She is on top of them. She knows her information. As always, you know that she's also, she's taking the skills she uses for her anime coverage. She's plugged in and applying that to the Pokemon League. So if you want info on all of that, definitely go give her a follow. And yes, go check out all of Jacob's stuff because I'll be there on the Bible Lens. The bar room is always fun. And then I'm super excited for Nerdigans to go back on Retro Wave, and also the fact that you've been reading Pokemon. So I know that that's going to be a really good show. Go check out all that stuff. I'm not going to take ciders. I'm being better about that. But as for me, guys, just check out boundingintocomics.com every day where we're posting news articles. Check out the YouTube channel where Cider's covering his own news articles. And then, if you want more of me, check me out on Twitter at Kabuto Rider Mav. Follow my YouTube channel, Studio Kabuto. And I will see you all next week.
That's right. Spencer didn't steal my rhyme this time. So here we go.
I heard that. I didn't steal your rhyme. I get it. Yeah. I see. This is over.
I had like some subconscious racism sneak out there. Sorry, like a Freudian racist slip there.
Channeling his inner Jacob. I know.
Yeah.
You see the Asian and
look,
it lights up.
My father was alive during World War II. He was born in 1929. So there might be some of that slants talk leaking through a bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So now that I'm center stage, so that was perfectly
he
able
says
to be
Japs with a hard J.
Yeah, hard J. With a G, right? But anyway, now that that's been perfectly snipped to cancel me, if you want to see more of the weird things that I say when I'm sober and or otherwise, feel free to check out the Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel where I report on the goings-on of the gaming industry right now, and it's not going really great, unless it's the Japanese one. That seems to be doing all right. Even better if you're Korean. I don't want to talk about the Chinese game one, though. But anyway. Anyway. So please feel free to tune in, subscribe, and also come back here at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays again to check out 01, 8 o'clock if you're into Tokyo Happy Hour, which is all one stream, so you don't have to worry about going anywhere. Feel free to fix a couple of sandwiches and kick your feet up. We've got your entertainment covered, at least until 10 minutes to midnight, where we are right now. So thank you all for tuning in, and so we'll end this now so Nerdigans can go be with Zeno. He's been very noisy throughout the stream, so see you later, guys.